Okay. So, out of all okay. Good evening. We're ready to start tonight is Parshas Vayeira. And here's a special mimer from the Tzemach Tzedek. Vayita Eishel. We once learned a different mimer from the Tzemach Tzedek on Vayita Eishel. Actually, I think we learned the mimer from the Rebbe Rashab on Vayita Eishel. But I think the original Maimarim on all the Vayita Eishels are the Tzemach Tzedek's. And he has a few Maimarim on Vayita Eishel and Avram planning this Eishel. Whatever that Eishel is, we'll see. And a couple of years ago, we learned one of the Vayita Eishels, and now we're going to do another one. And it seems like it's a major avoda of Avram Avinu when he planted this Eishel in Be'er Sheva, and he calls out in the name of Hashem. And fine, Torah is it's like most of the Torah has stories of Avram Avinu, and then over here it seems like there's a few psukim by Avram Avinu that you see that in addition to them telling and narrating a story, it's more of a description of his life. Like for instance, it says Halach v'nesaya hanegba, that Avram Avinu was traveling south. So in Chassidus it explains that Avram's entire avodah was southbound travel. South is love, is chesed, and Avram Avinu was traveling deeper into love, into higher levels of both loving the Eibishter and loving mankind and spreading godly light out of love. So that's Avram's avodah. Chesed is south because when you're facing east, when you face east, which east is kedem, is frontwards. So facing frontwards, south Darim is to the right side. So that's why, and the right is chesed. So that's why south is always, that's why it's warm on the south. It's cold on the north because it's Gevura, and there's more warmth on the south. Yeah. The 6 directions are the 6 spheres, and chesed is the right. In any case, but in this pasuk, Vayita Eishel, that Avram plants an Eishel, and Chazal tell us a lot about that Eishel, that whatever that Eishel means, whether it was an inn, according to one opinion, it was Avram's hotel. And what did he do over there? He called out in the name of Hashem. So this pasuk gives us a snapshot about Avram's avodah, and he called out in the name of Hashem. So, and it has to do with Vayita Eishel. So there's 3 opinions. The Gemara brings 2 opinions on the Eishel. And most of the Chassidus on Vayita Eishel talks about the 2 opinions. This mimer brings what the Gemara says, but also what it says in Medrash. Now, by the way, I was inspired to learn this mimer today on the plane. I was flying back from New York. I had my book with me here. The new Mamarim of Tzemach Tzedek that they printed, Hanochis, which means writings from different sources who wrote the Tzemach Tzedek's Mamarim. So this mimer Vayita Eishel has 3 versions of it. 2 long ones and 1 tiny short one, which is just a little synopsis. But then, learning it, he points it back to Eir HaTorah. The Eir HaTorah seems to be more concise and shorter, so I chose to learn that. And in Eir HaTorah itself, the same mimer is really 3 times in Eir HaTorah. 3 Maimarim in Eir HaTorah based on this idea. So we chose one of them, and that's the one we're going to learn. The mimer is also covered by the Rebbe Rashab, and usually it's interesting. Parshas Vayeira, and I like learning the Rebbe Rashab's Maimarim because it's in honor of Chaf Cheshvan, which is his birthday next week. But the mimer, as it is in the Rebbe Rashab's mimer, Tov Reish Nun, gets very, very focused at the beginning, but then he doesn't carry it through too far. And then it stops. They only have so much of the mimer. Till here they find, and then it abruptly stops. They don't have, the mimer is only recorded to a certain point. So therefore I chose not to do that one. That's, by the way, if you want to look it up over Shabbos, you want to, or whatever, make up for what, it's Tov Reish Nun, the early years of the Rebbe Rashab. In Tov Reish Nun, there's a mimer Vayita Eishel beBe'er Sheva. It's based on this Maimer. Any case, here we go. Vayita Eishel bebeir Sheva v'yikra Shem b'shem Hashem. Also, the Gemara gives two opinions, but the Medrash gives three opinions what the Eishel is. And this Maimer is going to primarily discuss two out of the three opinions, but not the opinion that people are used to. The Gemara says either it means a orchard. Eishel can mean an orchard because Eishel means a tree. So it doesn't make any sense that Avram Avinu planted only one tree, so he planted a garden, an orchard. And people would come there because Avram handed out free food, and everybody came for free food. I guess we have to learn from that. Sometimes when I make events, I'm thinking all the time, should I make free food? Then I think there'll be too many people coming for free food, and they're not coming for the learning, they're coming for the food. But Avram Avinu, I guess that's what he did. And you think he had everybody came. Even the people that sometimes I'm thinking, am I looking to attract all the people that are coming? Avram looked like he had no problem with that, you see. I have to do tshuva, so I do tshuva publicly. Okay. I don't think my wife is going to like this idea, but okay. Make the free food events, and everybody comes, but that's the way it was. Hey, how do you like that? We know in Chabad houses and we know in Shiurim, if you want a crowd, you have to make a food spread. People will come. So who started that? Avraham Avinu. How did he wanted to give a share. He wanted to teach about God. And he knew the secret. No one is coming unless there's food. And if you're going to give, you see that. So the Gemara says a machloikis. Two opinions. Either it was a pundik. What's a pundik? An inn. And the word Eishel stands for achila shtia levia, which means eating, drinking, and accompanying. From Avram we learned, the Rambam says we're supposed to remember Iker Hagadol that Avram Avinu taught us, that when you have guests, you're supposed to walk them out. It's very important, the levia. Or it's achila shina levia, eating, sleeping, and accompaniment. In any case, let's learn. Vayita Eishel beveir Sheva v'yikra Shem b'shem Hashem Kelor. Let me call out the name of God. So in Medrash, Parshas Vayeira, Perek Nudalid, Pliga bezer Rabbi Yehuda v'Reb Nechemia. Rabbi Yehuda says Eishel is a pardes. Eishel is a pardes. What's a pardes? A pardes is an orchard. And V'Rab Nachman Oimar, and that's why it's interesting. The Medrash says it's important for the mimer that if Eishel is an orchard, why do we say Eishel in the singular? Which Eishel is a tree, one singular tree. If it's a whole orchard, so the Mefarshim explained because later the Medrash says, why is it called Eishel? Because if you turn the words Eishel around, you get the word Sha'al. Shin Aleph Lamed. Eishel, rearrange the letter Sha'al. Sha'al means ask whatever you want. That means because he had every type of tree in the orchard. So what did you want? Right? You wanted melons, got melons. You wanted oranges, fresh squeezed orange juice stand Avram had. And apples, berries, cherries, whatever you wanted. It was all available. So, and that's the meaning. It's a pardes. So the reason why it says it b'lashon yachid is you should read it sha'al. Sha'al means ask. What you ask, we have it. Whatever you're asking for, Avram gave. Eishel is a pardes. Reb Nechemia says Eishel is a pundik. Pundik means a hotel. But now is the last opinion. Rabbi Zarya b'shem Rabbi Yehuda bar Simon. Rabbi Zarya says in the name of Rabbi Yehuda bar Simon, Eishel is a Sanhedrin. Vayita Eishel means that Avram appointed a Sanhedrin. I guess a counseling center. Anybody can come, or a court. Simply Sanhedrin means a high court. But it's a little strange, because how does it make sense? Avram Avinu is, his avod is the avod of chesed. Mishpat is more like for Yitzchak, he sets up a court. Judgment. So it says about Avram Avinu, that Avram set up a Sanhedrin. V'lo, where do we take this idea that Avram set up a Sanhedrin from the word Eishel? We learn it out Migzeir Sheva, from an Gzeir Sheva. The Chsiv, here's a mistake. It says in the Pasuk, it says over here, it says Shmuel Yoshev. It's not Shmuel. It says V'Sha'ul Yoshev beGiva. Sha'ul sat at Giva. Tachas Eishel berama. Beneath the Eishel in Rama. which is a strange thing. Giva means a what? A short little hill. That's a giva. A giva, the avos and the imais, the avos are called mountains, tzurim, really high peaks. And the imais, the mothers, they're called hills, giva'is, hills. But here's a stira. It says Shaul would sit begiva in a hill, and tachas Eishel, under the Eishel, berama. So where was he? And Rama means a very high place. Is he in a Giva? Is not a Rama. Rama is much higher than a Giva. So is he in Giva or is he in Rama? Where is he sitting? So the Gemara, so the Pirush, it says, I don't know if it's a Gemara or if it's a Medrash, but it says like this: Bischus Shmuel v'Sanhedrin, in the merit of Shmuel and his Sanhedrin, sheyashvu berama, that they sat in Rama. If anybody went to Shmuel Hanavi's kever, Shmuel's kever is in Ramot, and Shmuel lived on a very high place in Rama. I was there this past summer. It is so beautiful. You look out, it's like you see the whole Yerushalayim. It's very high up. So that's where Shmuel sat with his Sanhedrin. Shaul was not in Rama. Shaul was in Giva. So the Gemara says like this: what's the merit that Shaul HaMelech, the king, was able to, in whose merit did he have power, did he sustain his court? In Giva, in the merit of Shmuel and the Sanhedrin, who sat Berama. But where do we take that Shmuel was together with his Sanhedrin in Rama? From the word Tachas Eishel Berama, under the Eishel in Rama. Eishel is referring to Sanhedrin. So just like in that pasuk, Eishel, the word Eishel that we find over here in Parshas Vayeira, is referring to the Sanhedrin, right? Which are sitting in Rama, the Sanhedrin that are sitting in Rama. So just like over there, Eishel means Sanhedrin. So over here, when it says by Avram Avinu, Vayita Eishel, that Avram Avinu planted an Eishel, it also means Sanhedrin. Following? So we have three opinions what it means. Yoshe begiva shechusei shol Shmuel v'Sanhedrin hegin al Shaul. That protected Shaul who was in the Giva. Nimtza comes out. She'Eishel zehu Sanhedrin. That Eishel means Sanhedrin. Kemoiken, the same over here. Vayita Eishel sheksiv ba'Avraham. The Vayita Eishel that states by Avraham ugam ken Sanhedrin. There's also Sanhedrin. So we're soon going to see, what does this mean? That Avram is planting a tree, and so what we need over here is Gavaldik. The emes is, the stuff we're going to learn is so Gavaldik that it should make us like super excited, like really, really excited. It's Gavaldik in Yanam. It's getting to me. It's beginning to hit me right now how Gavaldik is. What we're going to figure out over here, number one, is all of this is taking place in a place called Be'er Sheva. And Be'er Sheva is very important. So we need to figure out what the Be'er Sheva is. Then we want to know what this Eishel is that he's planting in Be'er Sheva. And that Eishel has three interpretations: a tree, a hotel, and or Sanhedrin, which is strange. And where do we learn out that he's making a Sanhedrin? From Shmuel HaNavi, who has his Sanhedrin Birama in the heights. So there is a connection between the Sanhedrin being particularly in a very high place. Now, by the way, this idea that the Sanhedrin are in the heights, where else do we have Sanhedrin? Later in Jewish history, where else do we have Sanhedrin? Where else? In Tveria. But where else do we have Sanhedrin? In the Beis HaMikdash. Next to the Mizbeach, Lishkas HaGazes, that's where the Sanhedrin is, in the Beis HaMikdash. The Beis HaMikdash is Berama, is in a very high place. First of all, Yerushalayim B'chlal is high. Beis HaMikdash is in the heights of Yerushalayim. But spiritually, Beis HaMikdash is the highest place. And right over there, what do you have? You have Sanhedrin. That comes out over here an interesting Indian, that the Sanhedrin, we're going to see, is Mehi appointed a Sanhedrin, is because at this moment, Avram Avinu is drawing from a very, very high place. And when you draw from a very high place, you need to have Sanhedrin. Because without Sanhedrin, if you open up the door to that very, very high place, you're calling for trouble. You know what the Sanhedrin are? They are the guards. They guard this extremely, extremely super high godly place, not to allow anybody else. Because what does Sanhedrin do? They establish judgment, mishpat, judgment. And what is judgment? What's the whole phenomenon of judgment? Who is worthy and who's not worthy? Melech b'mishpat yamed oretz. The king decides with judgment where he should invest, where he shouldn't invest. What's a worthy cause, what's not a worthy cause. Everybody petitions the king. Everybody wants the gazillions of dollars that the government has. But you have to have discrimination. You have to scrutinize where and when and what. So that's why the Sanhedrin is in the Beis HaMikdash. And that's why Shmuel, who is drawing from a very high place called Ramah, needs to have a Sanhedrin over there. And we're going to see that from all the Perushim that we're going to explain what Avram Avinu planted in Be'er Sheva, the highest meaning of Eishel is the Sanhedrin. Because the Sanhedrin are also have another name. I'm giving away the whole mimer right at the beginning, but it's Gaval. The Sanhedrin have another name. They're called, initially in the Torah, they're not called Sanhedrin. Why are they called? They're called Shivim Zakanim. They're called Zakanim. And we know a Zakain is referring to very, very high levels of godliness that are called Zikna. Zakain generally means, Zakanim means those who have a white beard. So it's referring to the supernal whiteness of Keser, where the Hamshacha comes only through here, which is very, very high. So we're going to see that when there's an argument about the Eishel, on which Eishel it is, what we're really talking about is various different levels of Hamshacha that is being drawn into Be'er Sheva. And what's Be'er Sheva? So I'll give you the whole mimer now. Be'er Sheva is Malchus, the source of creation. Because Malchus is the seventh Madrega. Seven spheres, Malchus is the seventh. And Malchus is Be'er Sheva. Why is Malchus Be'er Sheva? Because Malchus is a Be'er, a well, where the 7 streams flow into Malchus, which are the 7 spheres. Interesting. Malchus itself is one of the 7, but so it all flows into Malchus is the Be'er Sheva. So Malchus generally, right? Malchus generally is the most minuscule level. In Malchus, the energy, the godly energy, right? In Malchus, the godly energy is the most constricted, most limited. What's the avoid of Yidden in this world? What do we learn? Especially when we learn Samachva, for instance. The whole mimer is that our avoid is lahamshich toisves eires, to bring new lights that have never been here before, that are way above the creation. That's who's the first Jew who starts getting the work done? Avraham Avinu. That's why his avodah is counted in what? Vayita Eishel, the Be'er Sheva. The machloikis that the various different opinions in this Eishel is defining from which level Avram was being mamshech. How high was Avram being mamshech into Be'er Sheva? What kind of level of Gilui Elokus did Avram Avinu reveal in the world? That's the Nikud. Now you got the whole mimer. Now we're ready to go. In an Inyan, we need to understand this Inyan. We first need to understand that day of Rabbi Yehuda, the day of the opinion of Rabbi Yehuda, Shama Eishel hu pardes. Rabbi Yehuda says that Eishel is a pardes. Imkain, if we say it's a pardes, la maksiv Vayita Eishel, so why does it say it in the singular? Loshin Yachid. Eitz Yechidi, an individual eitz. Haloi be pardes yesh kama v'kama ilanois. In a pardes, there is many, many trees. Ache Inyanu, the idea is the Eishel zeh hu b'chinas adam elyon. There's many trees. Why did it say Eishel in the singular? The answer is the Eishel. Who is this tree? We're going to see soon. It says in the pasuk in Parshas Shoftim, it says when you go to war, don't knock down a tree. Unnecessary fruit trees you're not allowed to knock down. And the pasuk says, because when you're laying siege on a city, ki adam eitz hasadeh, are the trees people that you have to lay siege on them? Leave the trees alone. Leave the trees alone. The pasuk is the first. The psukim in the Torah are the first people who cried. The Torah is the first one who cried, "Save the trees." All right, go back to that. I see people think they're the ones who started these campaigns. The Torah says, "Save the trees," but from there we learn out from that pasuk. We learn out, and we speak about it always on Tu B'Shvat. We always say, "Ki adam eitz hasadeh," that a person is a tree. From here we learn out, and we call it the human tree. The human being is compared to a tree. And in Torah, there's so many explanations of why a human is a tree, and so many things that we compare a human being to a tree. It's interesting because really the pasuk is not really saying a human is a tree. The pasuk is asking a question: Ki adam eitz hasada? Is a human a tree? But again, everything in the Torah can be read on various different levels. So the question Ki adam eitz hasada is really also a statement that Adam is eitz hasada. Okay, fine. That's step number one. Once we say a human is a tree, now we have to redefine human. We just redefined the tree. So cool. We just redefined the tree, that a tree is really a human. Ki Adam, once we know that trees are human, fine. Now, I'm not saying that every tree is human, but the concept is there's a comparison between a tree and a human. Now we have to question, what does human mean? So we know our human, but we're only what? Our human, why are we called Adam? Because we're B'Tselem Elokim, we're in the image of God. Asas Adam. Adam is B'Lashon Adam Elyon. That means that just like we are Adam, up there's also an Adam. And where do we see that? When Yecheskel had a vision, and he's perceived whatever he perceived, what did he perceive? What did he see? In Yecheskel's vision, what did he see? He saw the Merkava, and on the Merkava, on the chariot, he saw the image of an Adam. So when we say Ki Adam eitz hasada, that the Adam is a tree of the field, who is in addition to human down here, the supernal Adam Elyon, the supernal man is called a tree. Now it will make sense a little bit when we go to Gan Eden. There were two trees. There was one tree called Eitz Hadas, Tovera, and there was another tree called the tree of life, Eitz HaChayim. When we say that the supernal man above, he's the tree, which tree are we talking about? Eitz HaChayim. So what does it mean? So now, so the tree is very significant. The tree is the supernal man above. Who is the supernal man above? So we know that the sphirot, the attribute, all the spheros of Atzilus, they make up a human being. Because there are three intellectual spheros, Chachma, Bina, Das, and the 7 emotional spheres, which is the image of a human. So that's called a human, and it's also called a tree. Eitz HaChayim is the tree, which is the Eitz Hasada. Now, step back a minute. When it says Avram Avinu, Vayita Eishel, that Avram Avinu was planting an Eishel, it's a singular tree. Which tree is that? Avram Avinu is the first human being who is managing to draw the Adam Elyon, the supernal man, the spheros of Atzilus, the attributes of the world of Atzilus, as God manifests in Atzilus. And Avram Avinu is managing to bring down that Adam Elyon into Be'er Shava. What's Be'er Shava? Be'er Shava, as we're going to see soon, is creation. Is Malchus, which is the source of creation. The source of 7, whatever. We'll see why Malchus is called Be'er Shava. So, usually the way the Eibishter created a world is that the lights of Atzilus, the godliness of Atzilus, remain transcendental. They remain outside of the world, above the experiences of creation. There's no... And even though there is in creation, there is great godly lights. For instance, there is Gan Eden. But Gan Eden is a field. What's Gan Eden referred to in many of the places? It's called a field. Chakal Tapuchen Kadishin. It's a field. What's our job? When Hashem created Adam and Rishon, what was the job that he's supposed to do in the field? He's supposed to be the gardener, the of the Lashamar. He's supposed to plant trees. So who's the first one who came and improved the garden? He improves the world as it is. That's Avram Avinu. Vayita Eishel. He plants the Eishel. What's the Eishel? The Eishel is he brings down the supernal man, the Adam Elyon, and he brings it down into, he started shining Gili Elokus in this world. He brings the tree of life into creation. That's the idea. And that's why he explains, it calls it the one Eishel, even though it's a whole orchard. Because Avram Avinu, when he's drawing down the Adam Elyon, he's bringing down chesed apples, and he's bringing down gevura. What kind of fruit will we say is gevura? Like an intense fruit. He's bringing that down. He's bringing teferes fruit down. He's bringing all the various different spheres. So it creates a whole variety of fruits, all the different fruits, all the delicacies. He brought all these delicious fruits down. Everything was there. But since Atzilus is an olam of achdus, of unity, So even though there are so many features, so many different things, they're all harmonized and unified, and they're all one with Hashem. Because Atzilus is a world where all, even though you have multicolored and multifaceted inyanim, it's all unified in one singular unity. In Bria Yetzirah and Asiya, it's called already a world of Pirud, Misham Yipared. Things are already distinct and separated and different, one thing from the other. But Atzilus is an Olam of Achdus. So even though Avram Avinu is bringing down all the Oires of Atzilus, it's called Eishel, it's called one tree. It's that one Eitz HaChaim that incorporates all the spheroids and all its lights, and he's bringing it down in Be'er Sheva. That's what he's reading over here. Let's read it inside. Im kein lo maksiv Vayita Eishel loshin yachad eitz yechidi aloi bepardis yesh kama v'kama alano yisach inyan. The idea is the Eishel, that this Eishel zeh b'chinas Adam Elyon da Atzilus. This is this Adam Elyon, the supernal man of the world of Atzilus. Like it says, Ki Adam eitz hasadeh, that Adam is the tree of the field. Ha'adam ub'chinas Adam Elyon. The Adam is the supernal man, sha'ala kisei, that's on the throne. That on the throne is the image of a man. That's the Adam Elyon, the supernal man. And the supernal man incorporates within himself 10 spheres. Just like the physical human. The human being has 10 levels. Gimel Sichliim, 3 intellectual, Chachma Bina Das, V'zayin Midos, and we have 7 emotional attributes. So the supernal man of Atzilus that we mentioned before, even though it's 10 spherois, nevertheless, they're all in a state of unity. Like the Rambam wants to explain how deeply one Hashem is with his mind. So the Rambam says, by the Eibishter, hu hamada v'hu hayodeya. He is the knowledge, and he is the one who knows. By us, we're made up of many different. What makes up our personality? We're a composite. So, for instance, when we experience knowledge, our knowledge and us are 2 entities. We're not the knowledge. We know knowledge. That's an entity existing independent of us. And then when we know the knowledge, that knowledge is now incorporated into us. Since the knowledge existed first outside of us and we didn't know it, and then we added that knowledge, is a sign that we and the knowledge are not one. But by Hashem, everything he knows is really himself, because he and the knowledge are one. And that's what the Rambam says regarding to knowledge. And then the Alter Rebbe in Shara Yichud Ve'emunah explains, by Hashem, it's not just knowledge, it's all of the features that there are, Chesed, Gevurah, Teferes, and all these inyanim. By Hashem, it's a perfect oneness. It's not like by us where these are, we have kindness, but the kindness is a separate mitzias inside of us other than ourselves. But by Hashem, it's not that way. So therefore, it's Hu Hayedeya. Ve'ein shayach loymar sheyedeya shehu yizbarach yodeya hu davar chutz memenu. You can't say by Hashem that the knowledge that Hashem knows is something external to him. Yakshahu hayodeya, he is the knower. V'hu hadeya atzma, and he is the deya itself, the knowledge itself. And to really appreciate this, how this is, the Rambam says, the Rambam says we can't. And the reason the Rambam says we can't is because when we imagine things, we imagine them as they are in ourselves. And just like by us, we and our mind are 2 separate things. And the knowledge that we acquire with our mind is a 3rd entity. So when we try to imagine intellect and knowledge and so on and so forth, we imagine it and perceive it the way it is by us. So the Rambam says, but accepted that that's the way it is. That's the truth. Above hu v'chachmasei v'daita echad. Hashem, his chachma and his das are perfectly one. And just like Hashem and his chachma and his das are completely one, all the other midos of the Eibishter Gamkein, they become perfectly unified with him. We can't say on the Eibishter's midos that they exist, they're an entity outside of him. Hashem and his midos are perfectly one. And it's stated in Tanya, the second part of Tanya, Shara Yichud Ve'emunah, where the Alter Rebbe explains this at great length. Shemasha Amar Rambam Hu Hayadeya V'Hu Hadeya. This that the Rambam says he is the knower and he's the knowledge. Even though Rambam wasn't talking about the midos, Rambam was talking about the mind, but it applies to the midos as well. Shehu v'chasadav echad. He and his chesed are one. Ugvuroisav and his gevura echad is also one. Ubezoyar nikra b'loshin. The Zohar uses, this is in the words of philosophy, in the words of the Rambam. In terms of Kabbalistic terminology, Zohar terms, the Zohar says, Iu v'chiyu chad. He and his life forces, which are referring to the energy that flows in the spheroids, which are already the powers, like Chachma and so on and so forth. But he and they are totally one. Iu v'garmu, he and his garments, which means he and his kalim, the vessels, which we might think are already a little bit more distinct, because they're already a vessel, they're not even the oir, the light. Iu v'chiyu is referring to the oiros. The oiros of the spheroids. The oiros of the spheroids are really pshutim. They're really simple. They don't really have much design to them. But the kalim are already more distinct. The vessels, the containers. We would think that that's already something other added to Hashem. So you say, no. The Zohar says that he is perfectly one with them as well. Him and his emanations, him and his life forces are referring to the oirein soif that's mislabish in Chachma. And just like he and his light that emanates from him are totally one, he and his garments are also totally one. These are the supernal midos, the atzilus of atzilus. Shemidos of Yisbarach hem davar noisef lepa'amim nispal b'midas hakas. They're already considered like a garment, because at times it's not like, sometimes the Eibishter seems to be, he's getting angry. And other times in another midah. The midas are not the essence of the soul. But the Eibishter's midas, they're totally unified with him. He and his chesed are one. This all explains when we say, and what did Avram Avinu do when Avram planted this Eishel? And we said before, Eishel is a tree. And who is a tree? Ki ha'adam eitz hasadeh. That man is called a tree. And who is this man? It's referring to the supernal man above. Avram Avinu was mamshich, the Adam ha'elyon sha'al hakisei. Avram Avinu was mamshich, the one that we call HaKadosh Baruch Hu. He is the one, the transcendental element of the transcendental Hashem's transcendence of Atzilus, the way Hashem manifests in a world that's perfectly divine and not within creation. And Avram Avinu was mechaber and joined and brought down the oiros of Atzilus and the kalim of Atzilus, which are the Adam Elyon, down. And that's why it's called Eishel in the singular. Lashon Yachid Eitz Yechidi. It's a sin, because there everything is unified as one. The Isa Oicham, now it says over there as well, B'Medrash, that the Eishel Oisius Sha'al Matishal. Remember I said earlier that the word Eishel, if you rearrange the letters, comes from the word ask. And the Eishel meant, since he had all the fruits, since he had all these various trees, it was a whole orchard, Avram Avinu said to his guest, what do you want? Pomegranate juice, apple juice, orange juice, or whatever else you want. Any kind of juice or food or whatever you want. Te'enim, dates, anavim, grapes, rimoinim, pomegranates. Shavram hichnis orchim. Avram Avinu invited guests. V'amalachol echad sha'al me'etam. Avram didn't have a set menu for the night and said, this is the menu, like it or leave. He didn't say that. Everybody can order whatever they wanted. To understand what does this mean above. So we need to understand. In order to be able to get Sha'al Masha Tishal, what does the Sha'al Masha Tishal mean? Think about it. A guy is coming in, and Avram Avinu would have water. What's on the menu today? Water. But if you tell the guy, ask what you want, I don't know, the guy wants papaya juice. Oh. So that means it's already, there's already a selection, there's already variety. In order there should be variety, the Eibishter is the singular. Hashem is singular one. And from Mitzad the Eibishter, everything is an absolute oneness. There's only this simple, undefined energy. How does the Eibishter become apple juice and pear juice and so on and so forth? How does it translate into all the various different inyanim that there are in creation? It's because there is Eser Spheres. It's because there are Kalim and so on and so forth. Without those Kalim, it would be just a singular energy. Therefore, what do we say? If Avram Avinu is mamshich the Eser Spheres, and so on, to be poil and bria, tzir and asiya, that's what makes that you can come and you can ask for various different things. Or else, there's a certain disconnect. There is a hashpah, there could be an hashpah, but the hashpah is not detailed. The hashpah comes down in a certain... Now, what's the mile of it being detailed? Number one, you can get whatever you need. But number two, when the hashpah, is going to explain now, when the hashpah is not specified, and it remains in a very undefined state, because it's so beroimamus, it's so exalted, it's so high, there is lacking focus in that energy. So the energy is very, very vast and very, 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 very unchanneled and undefined, and therefore it gives access to bad guys as to the good guys. And that's the state during Golos, for instance, when we're lacking Avram Avinus in this world, when we're lacking people like Avram Avinu, who can focus the Eibishter's light down through the spheroids and bringing it down and through an Eishel. What happens naturally to God's light, because the Eibishter is so infinite and so boundless and so on and so forth, the natural state of the Eibishter's emanations is they gravitate not into vessels, they gravitate the opposite. They gravitate or pull, they get naturally pulled back into what? Into the infinite undefined source where they come from. And as a result of that, chitzonim are able to leak from that energy and take, because over there, it's so, the Eibishter is so beroimamos. So like the mashal is given in many places, like that in a big, vast palace, spiders, and in a small little hut, where you have a whole family of 16 children living in a little tiny house. So the mother, the woman of the house, she knows every spider in the neighborhood, and if one would dare walk into her house, it would get destroyed in a second. Why? Because she's got a full, tight control over that small little nest. But where does a smart spider, where does he go? He goes to a palace. Shemamis, the pasuk says that Shlomo Melech says that in his infinite wisdom, and he also lived in a palace, so he knows that. Shemamis b'yadayim titafes. What we call again, spiders are chased by all hands. Everybody chases the spider and wants to get rid of it. V'hi b'yacholei hamelech. But in the vast, big halls of kings, the spiders go quietly and no one notices them because it's so big and it's so vast. So there's a very big problem when the Eibishter is very big. When the Eibishter is very big, then it's a free-for-all. Everything flows, and there's no accountability. There's no everything gate. But when you have a tzaddik, or tzaddikim, or a Jewish people that are keeping Torah and mitzvahs, it causes the Eibishter to become small. And what does it mean the Eibishter to become small? It means that the Eibishter focuses himself into the Eser spheres. And when the Eibishter focuses himself into the Eser spheres, he's simply, why would he do that? Is simply because he wants to be in a relationship with the world. The more deserving we are, the more we're serving him with our selfless devotion, the more excited the Eibishter gets, and he lowers himself down to play with the world. He gets involved. And when the Eibishter lowers himself down, he picks up on the what? On the definitions of the world, and he plays by the rules. And once Hashem plays by the rules, who's deserving by the rules? Tzaddik Kedusha deserves. Tzaddik Tumah v'Sitra Achra doesn't deserve. That's why this concept is always repeated again and again in Chassidus, is that the Klippos, they want the Eibishter to remain distant and removed and exalted. It's hinted to in the pasuk, Ramal Kol Goyim Hashem. What do the Goyim want? They want the Eibishter to be in a state of Reimamus, because then everybody can take it. So this is what he's explaining over here. But Avram Avinu, what is he doing? He's bringing the Eibishter down. He's being mamshech the Eishel. What's the Eishel? The Eishel is the Eser Spheres. And he's connecting the Eser Spheres down, so the Hashpah is coming through the Eser Spheres. In that sense, the Hashpah becomes very specified. And that's why you can ask whatever you want. You want apples, you want this, you want this. There's meaning things are already defined as opposed to the non-defined energy. And to understand how does this work, so how would it work? Well, some people are upset. I met my brother. I was at my wedding now in New York. So he's telling me, he says, Tuesday was such a good week. He lives in Lakewood. He said, everybody was freilach on Tuesday. Everybody was in such a good mood on Tuesday. Why? Because there was the $1.6 billion lottery. And everybody, everybody had nefshe, you know? When does a guy, a Lakewood young man, have a shaykhs to a $1.6 billion? On Tuesday, everybody had a shaykhs. Because someone is going to win. Fine. On Wednesday, he says, someone walked into shul and he says, der Olam is a ganzen seduced. He saw everybody's in ganzen ungesetzt. He says it's worse than 9/11. Because suddenly everybody realized that that big dream that they had is gegangen kaput. So what's the chid? Why do you want to win the lottery? You want to win the lottery? I'm talking about the Klippa wants to win the lottery. Why? Because if the Eibishter gives me a $1.6 billion check, that means it's the opposite of asking for te'enim, anovim. This Eibishter, oirein soif, give me oirein soif, infinite. Don't worry, I'm going to buy myself a pair of pants. I'm going to buy myself already a suit of this. I'm going to buy a house over here and a this over there. And those the definitions. That's what Klippa wants. It always wants a hashpah from a place where it's believable. Give me a blank check, fartik. Avram Avinu, since the Hamshach, you hear the tifkar over here? Avram Avinu says, no, ask me what you want to ask. You want apples? You want berry? If a Jew has a daily connection to the Eibishter, so you're also connected to this $1.6 billion lottery. And whatever you need, but you know what? You have to specify. But if I have to specify everything, that means I have to deserve. Then the Eibishter is willing to give us everything, whatever you want. But ask me for what you want. No, I want to win it all in one chunk. In a sense, you're really pushing the Eibishter so far away if you win that. Why? Because you don't need him anymore. Give me the rest of my life, I'm good, I'm okay. Like this, every morning you have to wake up and say to the Eibishter, listen, I have this bill I have to pay. I have to pay this bill. I have to pay my... and then I have to take care of this. So each thing specified. With Jews, the Eibishter wants to have a specified relationship. And this is all related to Avram Avinu being mamshich elokus, down in a place where sha'alna, we're going to see, it's all comes out from this Indian right over here. Let's see. Sha'al masha tishal, an te'enim b'remoinim shavram, ulahaven zeis lamayla. So let's see. In order that there should be ashpa from the Eibishter that's believable, it's only through the eslapshus of the Orein Soif, through the Esa spheres. It's through this that he's mislabish in the 10 spheres. He enclosed himself in the 10 attributes. The Nevraim are able to receive a hashpa from him. When the Eibishter is mislabish in Chachma. So the Jewish neshamis are able to experience great wisdom and knowledge of God. When the Eibishter is mislabish in Chesed. But if the Orein Soif is left in his transcendental, undefined state, the Nevraim can't receive any hashpah. So here it's mashma, you can't take anything. It's bli gvul, so no one. So Klippa doesn't gain anything from this either because you can't receive from this. It's like a bli gvul. But we're going to see soon that it's not exactly the case. David HaMelech defines, characterizes, expresses this so beautifully. He says, Ki shamecha, I see your skies, I see the heavens you've created. But look at these words, Maise etzba isecha, the deeds of your fingers. What does it mean, the deeds of the Eibishter's fingers? How does a carpenter do delicate work? Everybody's got a power of asiya, of action. But how does that koyach of asiyah translate into very delicate, specific work? For that you need fingers. Without fingers, you have the reason why animals don't have fingers. They have paws, not fingers. And humans have fingers. Animals don't need fingers. Because they don't really need to be able to do such detailed, particularized work. But a human being who's meant, he has to write, and they're able to make some fingers so it's specified. So that's why Secha called the Esesphiros. So by Hashem, the 10 spheros are called the 10 fingers. Because they specify a lokus. Ki Esesphiros nikra Eser, that's boys. They're called 10 fingers. Chamesh keneged chamesh, 5 opposite 5. Kamaya derech mashal ba'adam. And just like by a person, shal yedei it's boys, just like through fingers. Yachal adam lasas ezik keli. A person can fashion a keli, or a father, and he can break something down. He can make something into pirudim, into pieces. Or a chalik davar, and to divide something. Agam sha'adam oises davar. Even though the person is the one who does it. Who's doing it? The fingers don't do it. When David HaMelech says, Maisei etz b'yisecha, it doesn't mean your fingers did something. You, Eibishter, did, but you did it through your fingers. Aval al-kapanim, b'li etz b'yis, without the fingers, le'ava yachalas, it's klumi, couldn't do it. Kach oirin, seif baruch hu, b'li gavul. Is b'li gavul. Ve'ein b'yachaylis l'kabel shum hashpa. We can't receive anything from him. Achai yidei shem eslabish, b'b'chinas esesphiris. When the Eibishter is mislabish in the 10 spheres, yachal yis hashpas, oirin seif baruch hu, la'olam moiz v'nevrayim. So then the oirin seif is able to be hashpa to the oilam v'nevrayim. L'chein nikra b'shem etz bois. That's why it's called fingers. Elachei nikra gam kein spherois loshen mispar. Spherois also means setting a number. Ki al yedei yislapshus oirin soy baruch hu be'eser spherois. Through the yislapshus in the 10 spheres, oz yumshach ha'ashpa b'pchinas mispar. Then it becomes numbered. Numbered means b'pchinas gavul in a set number. V'zeu Eishel oisi is sha'al. Sha'al ask me for specifications. Sha'al matishal, ask me what you want. Pidish ayadei yislapshus oirin soif. Through this that the oirin soif encloses itself. B'pchinas Eishel, into the Eishel. What's the Eishel? Eishel is the spherois. The one tree, the Eitz HaChayim, that includes all the 10 spherois. Shehu b'chinas Adam ha'elyon, that's the supernal man, Anel. Shekolu me'esa spherois, that incorporates 10 spherois. Oz yachal liyas hashpas oirin soif lamata sha'al matishal. Ask what you're going to ask. Vayita Eishel be'er Sheva. He plants an Eishel in be'er Sheva. So it's interesting. Here he doesn't say it. No, he's going to mention it soon. So where is he planting this Eishel? He's planting it be'er Sheva. Because, you see, the Nakud over here is, okay, so there's spheres. The question is, how much of those 10 spheres connecting to the lower realm, where the 10 spheres are in the world of Atzilus? Now it has to be, it's still a world it's the Eibishter's personality, but it's still Elokus, it's still Getlach. Now it has to translate Mamish into the world. So that's what it means that Avram plants the Eishel be'er Sheva. Be'er Sheva u'pchenas Malchus d'Atzilus. The last and final sphere of Atzilus, which is called Malchus. Ki pchenas Malchus, and the reason why Malchus is called be'er Sheva is because Mekabel Mesheva HaMidos. She's Mekabel from the 7 Midos, Al Yoinos. L'cha Hashem Agdula v'Hagvura, which are stated in the pasuk, in which we say in Vayeira David, L'cha Hashem Agdula v'Hagvura, whatever Teferes. Ad L'cha Hashem HaMamlacha. These are 7. It's interesting that Malchus is one of them. So why is it called it's Makabel from the 7 when it's Makabel from 6, and Malchus is the 7th? But okay, Elchei Nikra Be'er Shava. It's called the Be'er of 7. Oi. So that's one reason why it's called the Be'er Shava. That's a little bit problematic, because a Be'er is not a place that's Makabel. A Be'er is a source of water for. So that's why he adds, Oy Mipnei, or another reason it's called Be'er Shava, Ki Pchenas Malchus d'Atzilus, because Malchus of Atzilus, Hu Pchenas Makor v'Shoirish, she's a root and a Shoirish, L'Sheva Hecholois Debriya. In the world of Bria, the 7 chambers. It's hinted to by Esther Amalka. What does it say? When they were preparing the girls to go meet the king, and the king we know is HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and the Malka, the queen, is the Shechina, is Malchus. And what does it say? Ve'esheva ha'na'arois ha'ru'uois lasis lame beis ha'malchus. That the queen, the one who was going to be marry the king, she has 7 maidens, 7 girls that help her out. These 7 girls, translated into the higher realms, is referring to the 7 Eicholois that there are in Olam Abriya, which in this case, it's Be'er Malchus is the be'er for the Sheva. It flows life and flow and energy and sustenance into the Sheva Haicholis of Bria, which are the foundations of all of the universe and all of creation. V'Avram, and the Chiddush of Avram is, Himshach mebchenas Eishel, Avram Avinu drew down from the Eishel. Shehu b'chenas oirein soif baruch hu kishemesh slabish be'esas sfiros. The Eishel is the oirein soif when he is already enclosed in the Eishel, in the tree. El yoino is the supernal, lib be'er Sheva, to the be'er Sheva, shehu b'chenas Malchus, which is Malchus. Sheyiyah hagilui oirein soif baruch hu lamata. That was Avram's avodah. There should be a gilui of the oirein soif down here below, kamoy lamayla, as it is above. Now watch this amazing thing. This is a very spiritual Inyan. He's drawing down oirein soif that's higher into Malchus, which is the source of olam abriya, bria, tzir, and asiya. There should be able to be godly revelation in the lower world. Fine. But how did it translate physically? Physically, it was a tree, it was an orchard, where people came to eat. And what did he do? That's exactly what he did. He asked them to make a bracha, and he taught them about Hashem. So his physical actions were a reflection of a powerful spiritual effect that he was having in the spiritual world, but at the same time, he was actualizing it as a physical human being, speaking to people and making Gili Elokus down here, to people who were ignorant till that time. And that's why it says, the Medrash, Shavram ha'hepech, he is the total opposite from the earlier generations. Shemedoides are the Shoinim of the earlier generations. Ki adoides are the Shoinim, the first generations, Garmu Siluk Shechina. They caused the Shechina to depart. Chet Adam Arisha in Nistalka Shechina L'Raki Arish. First, the Eibishter was present in Bria, Yetzir, and Asiya. As it says in the Medrash, Iker Shechina B'tachtoina Moisa. The main Shechina was down here, B'tachta. What happened? When Adam Arishan sinned, he caused the Eibishter to pull away from this world, and he went up to the Rakia. And then Chet Kayin, Chota Kayin, Kin, the Stalka Shechina L'Rakia Asheni, the Shechina retracted higher even. Der Enoish, and so back and back. The Inyan Siluk Shechina. What does it mean, Siluk Shechina? Hu B'chenas HaGolus is the idea of Golus. What's Golus? The Isa B'Zoyar, it says in Zoyar, Kutshe Berichu B'Galusa, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, in the time of Golus, Istalik Le'ela Le'ela. Is mistalik, the parts above. When you read the Zoyar, you say, that doesn't sound bad. Le'ela, the Eibishter rises, is beautiful. No. Le'ela means he retreats into himself. Hashem becomes introverted. He pulls into himself. So he's not being this gala outward into the world. Le'elo shenestalik. What does it mean, le'ela? He departs from the Eser Spherois, and for sure from Bria, Yetzir, and Asiya. He departs from the lower words from Malchus. But he even departs from the Spherois. B'pchenas oirein soif meleheyer be'eser Spherois, from to illuminate in the 10 spheres. Shenestalik le'ela departs above. K'moy shehu beli gvul, he goes into his beli gvul state. Umitzad shehu beli gvul, and because he is beli gvul, ein yechoylem lekabel. So here it seems like there is some kind of I couldn't put together the words, because if you in all the other Maimarim that are again the same Maimar in different versions, they explain that if you're reading from before just flow, it's mashman, you can only be makabel through if it's coming through the Eser spheres. If not, it's believable. But you see from here further himself, and that in a sense you could be makabel, but as we said before, you're makabel a blank check. It's like Klippas get, he has 1.6 billion, go take sich, go do whatever. It's nicht. In other words, it's not like a specified, and that's why they like it, because they like to receive where there's no accountability here, no one cares where the money is going to, it's unaccounted for, it goes to whoever has a bigger power to grab, and so on and so on. It's not like there's no hashpah, but the hashpah is coming not in a manner of, it's not being directed to the one that it's being, to the recipient. It's just flowing, energy flows. And that's why the Klippas have his gabrus during the time of Galus. The oppressors of the Jewish people, or people that are wicked, are thrive. And there is a lack of ashpah flowing where? To Knesset Yisroel, to Makam Kodesh. So here's a little hard to figure out exactly. On the one end, if you're connecting what he is saying to the past, it would make sense to continue. You can't receive. Or if you're going to connect it to what he's going to say further, then you would read something like that. But then the rak is a little hard. I'm having a hard time setting these words. Because in front of him, light and darkness are equal, and therefore the unholy can also take. And that's why Taka says also in the Medrash, the world was in dark. Avram started illuminating light. Now, even though the word Heir in the pasuk doesn't say Heir, who is shining from the east with an aleph, it says Heir with an ayin. Hagam shakasav Heir ba'ayin. Avala pirishi, who Heir ba'aleph, shining. Pirisha Heir esa olam. He illuminated the world. V'himshach gilia lakus lamata. He drew down godly revelation below. Hepech mepchenes hagolus, opposite of what it is in the time of Golus. Vazehu Vayita Eishel beBe'er Sheva. He planted an Eishel in Be'er Sheva. Shu b'chenas pardes. That's the pardes that Avram Avinu set keniskalia. V'Rab Nechemya Rab Nechemya holds Eishel hu pundik. Eishel is a pundik. What's a pundik? A pundik is an inn. It's also the same idea. Ki yesh oid pirish be'Eishel, because there's another pirish in the word Eishel besides a tree. Shudash achila, shtia, levia, which is eating, drinking, and accompaniment. Oy, achila, shena, or eating and sleeping. Levia, and also accompanying. It's all the same idea. Shavram hechel v'hishke l'kulam, that Avram Avinu gave everybody to eat. Okay. V'idiyam lahem mishalmi achlu. And in that pundik, what did he do? He let them know who they're eating from. Ubarchu es Hashem, and they blessed Hashem. Shehim shecha yedei zegili alakus lamata. And the main thing, it's interesting. What was the main thing that Avram Avinu had them do? Even though I never was mesim leif to this. He had them say brachas. Bench, that was it. What's benching? A bracha is a hamshach. You know, so he had everybody being mamshach. People were drawing godliness down. It's all hamshacha. It's a flow, opening up flows of godliness through everybody. Nimtza comes out. Shebchenes pardes, obchenes pundeku akalecha. It's the same idiom. But now we need to understand the third opinion. There's a third opinion. She'Eishel is Sanhedrin. That the Eishel is Sanhedrin. And we learn it from Exeda Shava, which it says in that pasuk that we quoted at the beginning, that Shaul begiva tachas Eishel berama. Tachas Eishel berama. The call that he had his own Sanhedrin. The call Sanhedrin, referring that Avram set up a Sanhedrin. So who are these Sanhedrin, first of all? But he's going to explain al pi pnimius in Yonim what this means. What this means al pi pnimius in Yonim is like this, is when you're mamshich from the Esser Spheres is gevaldik. But there's a certain limitation to that. Because Soif Kol Soif, since the oil is coming down through Kalim, it's what? It's already, it's fixed. And a lot of times, because of that, the Hashpah can be what? It can be a little bit tzimtzum. It can be too many gevuras. Once you're going through a system of what? Of din mishpat and bringing through, so then sometimes the gevuras get a little too intense, and chas v'sholom there's a lacking by a lot of yidden, even in kedusha. There's only tzaddikim or only whatever, and everybody that can be mishpat is no good. So you have to continuously have some kind of a carryover from the believable that's higher to be, and that the way that works is you have to be mamshich that the oirin soif that's higher than the Esser spheres should manifest into the Esser spheres as well. In addition to the normal light that flows. Of course, or else there's no spheres if there's no oil coming in. But we're talking about a much stronger, essential Amshacha from what is beyond into the Adam Elyon, into the supernal man. Now here's the deal. When you're being mamshech from such a high place, you're getting again back into the problem. That what? When you're mamshech from a very high place, what's your problem? Over there, there's lack of discrimination because it's an oithen of beligavul. So dafka from that place, you have to have Sanhedrin. Because you have to have some kind of a setup, not that it shouldn't be It shouldn't be. So who was Avram Sanhedrin? So Mamizog Nazay. Avram had 70 hidden tzaddikim. They were his chevra, and they knew where to be mashpia the hashbaz. What do you think? Avram was like the Baal Shem Tov. He had his whole 70, his group of tzaddikim that were with him, and Avram had his chevra with him. And these guys were working. These guys were working the channels. So on the one hand, these mamshich from a very. Let's see it over here. The Inyan, the Ayin Sanhedrin Nikram Ayin Zakenim. The 70 Sanhedrin are also called Zakenim. As it says, Isful Shivim Ish Mizikna Yisroel. Gather to me together 70 Zakenim. The Isa B'Sfarim. Now it says an interesting thing. Sha'ayin Zakenim, that the 70 Zakenim, Hem Keneged Ayin Yom Tov, corresponds to the 70 Yomim Tovim we have in the year. You're going to say, what's 70? So if you're a Chabadnik, then you understand why we have 70, because every second day we have another Yom Tov. It's Yutas Kislev, it's Yud Kislev, it's Rosh Chodesh Kislev, it's Yudalit Kislev. You have 7 Rabbeim. Each one has a day where they got married. Each one was in jail, so they got out of jail. Then they have a birthday. Then you have a yard site. Then you have, a few of them. So you have Inyanim, you have. But where do you have 70 Yom Tov? So the answer is we knock off 52 by Shabbosim. Shabbos is also Yom Tov. So automatically you have 52 Shabbosim in the year. That's Yom Tov. Good days. And then, in addition to that, you have 7 days on Pesach and 8 days on Sukkot, Rosh Hashanah Yom Kippur, and you got your 70 Yom Tov. And Ayin Yom Tov, Sheyesh B'Shana the B'chol Shana, Yesh Ayin Yom Tov. Nun Bei Shabbos, 52 Shabbos. Zayin Yemei HaPesach, you have 7 days of Pesach. So it's already, 59. Shavuos makes it 60. Rosh Hashanah he's counting Rosh Hashanah as 1 day, 61. Yom Kippur is another day, 62. Shemoni Sameach Chag, 70. If you count Rosh Hashanah as 2 days, you have 71. Oh, the Sanhedrin also have 71. But Tzarech Lav, we need to understand that Shaychus Ayin Zakenim Ima Ayin Yom Tov. What kind of Shaychus does it that? That the 70 Yom, including Shabbos and Yom Tov, is up as the 70 Zakenim. Oh no. In Eksiv, so to understand this is Azay. It says in the Pasuk, we say, Nar Yisi Gam Zakanti. I was a nar, I was a youngster, and generally it means I was a little bit foolish. And Gam Zakanti, now ich bin kliger geworden. Now I became smarter already, or I've aged. Chazal say on this, Nara Yisi, who's talking that's saying Nara Yisi Gam Zakanti? So Chazal say, Sarei Shal Olam Omroi. The minister of the world says that. Simply it's referring to a malach, who's the minister in charge over the world. And he says, Nara Yisi Gam Zakanti. I was a youth, and now I'm... What does that mean? So it says, it's the constant statement of the malach of the world. That the malach of the world, it means the malach is the angel who's in charge of flowing energy flow into the creation. He's the oilam, part of the oilam. He has 2 stages. He has a stage when he is a youngster, which means immature, and then he gets old and he has maturity. He becomes wise and experienced. And it says, when does he say this? Every Shabbos he says it. He says, Oi, during the week I was such a nar, I was such an immature baby. When it comes Shabbos, now I am enlightened. Then he goes back during the week and he becomes again a youth. He's constantly fluctuating from being unenlightened, and then he goes into a state of enlightenment. So what's that idea? So he explains. Why is he called Nar? The idea is, just like Hanar, just like a youth. He has 248 limbs. He also has a brain, like an adult. But everything is immature. Everything is in a state of undevelopedness. The same is also above. The Bechina and the Madrega, that is a makar, that's a source, to enliven the world, v'nivroim and creations, bale gvul, limited entities, me'ayin liyesh, from nothing to something, nikra b'shem nar. So we're talking about Sarei Shel Olam is not just a malach. Sarei Shel Olam is referring to elokus, getlichkeit, that becomes the sar, almost like the neshama of the world. Because it's drawn through many contractions, powerful contractions. From the Oirin Soif who is believable, in order for it to become a source, to bring about the Gevul. And that's why the Sar Shel Olam is called a Nar. Because he's creating this world, Gevul, to believable, it's like childish play. It's narishkeit. It's like a child uses his intelligence to play with a toy train. When he gets adult, he's an engineer, he's building big trains, but he's like this, he's building toy airplanes. Everything is image, everything is Ulafishu Sarei Shel Olam. He's the minister of the world. It doesn't compare to the essence of the Oirin Soif. This is only during the days of the week. That's when the oil goes down. During the week, it shrinks and shrinks and shrinks till it becomes mitigated and it becomes tiny, till it becomes like a little child. Till the vast Eibush there, infinite Ein Sof, becomes like a nar, like a little child playing a game and creating a finite little creation. But what happens is skipping, he says in the bottom, this seems to be missing some words. What the words are exactly, but it's something like Avol b'Shabbos v'Yom, something like that. Yesh aliyah lebchinas sarei shel olam. Then there comes an aliyah, an elevation to the sarei shel olam, to the master of the world. V'nikra b'shem zaken, he becomes zaken. V'zeu gam zakanti, I became old. What does that mean? Shakal Shabbos, it's referring to Shabbos. Ki b'Shabbos meir mibchinas hamadrega hanikra zikna. On Shabbos, in the world, we have a hamshacha from a place that's called zikna, mature, older and wise. Why? Ki b'Shabbos hu aliyas ha'olamos. Because the Shabbos, all the worlds rise up. And how do they rise? Because the neshama of the world rises. The Sfiras HaMalchus, the enclosed godliness that's within the world, that is generally in a powerful state of tzimtzum, it doesn't know much, rises into a much higher level, it rises up to Atzilus. And Malchus is then, the super battery, so to speak, super energy of the world, is then enlightened with incredible enlightenment. So the worlds that are created from Malchus also have tremendous capacity for expansive moichin, for expansive consciousness. And to be able to sense the Ein Sof and the infinite, and therefore the worlds are not so mailam or master, they're not so constricting. That's the meaning of the simple words, Vayachal Elokim. Simply means Hashem completed. The deeper meaning of Vayachal Elokim, all the tzimtzumim and contractions that block and keep us in a bottleneck, the world, not to be able to see past time and space, the here and the now. On Shabbos, all these tzimtzumim of the name Elokim dissolve, and Shabbos la Havaya, we go up to Havaya, where the oir is not yet mitzumtzum and contracted, and therefore we can experience Ein Sof. So Chassidim and anybody that knows the secrets of Shabbos knows that Shabbos is not a day just for cholent and whatever. Shabbos is a day for deep meditative prayer. Because on Shabbos you can achieve in half an hour of learning and davening, or in an hour of it, much deeper you can go and feel and experience much more, because simply the nature of existence is different on Shabbos. Elokus is far more accessible. Get the Ein Sof is accessible, because everything is in a state of aliyah. Number one, the lower worlds, Bria, Tzir, and Asiya, which are generally cut off from Boire, they're Nivra, it's Bria, it's creation, become kind of submerged and elevate into Atzilus. And even higher, Uba Atzilus itself. It's not like that Bria, Tzir, and Asiya go up to Atzilus, but Atzilus remains the same. Atzilus itself is upgraded much, much higher. Meir b'chenas atika kadisha. The levels of Oirin Sof that are higher than Atzilus. That's Keser. In Keser, Pnimius HaKeser. That's called Atik. Atik Yoimen. Pure Oirin Sof, which is the place where all the light and pleasure comes from. By every Shabbos meal, take a look at the Zmiros. By every Shabbos meal, what do you say? V'atika kadisha. Part of the Askinas Sudasa, you're always inviting Atika kadisha. Which during the week you can't say that because there's no gilui of Atik Yoimen during the week. On Shabbos there is. Atik Yoimen is V'atika nikra zakein. And Atika is called zakein. Chachma and Bina are called father and mother. And Keser is already the Zayda. And Erech Anpin, the lower part of Keser, is the Zayda. And Atik Yoimin is what? The Elta Zayda. So we're talking about real Zakein. Upirish v'nikra Zakein b'pirish Amilis. Ubezoyar nikra Gamkein b'chines Atika Kadisha b'shem Zakein Saba de Sabin, the Elta Zayda, the great-grandfather. The Inyan, and the idea is, Ki Chachma and Bina nikra Gamkein Zakenim. Chachma and Bina are also called Zakenim. Zakein Shekana Chachma, because the Oirein Saif shines in Chachma. So Chachma is also called Zakein Shekana Chachma. B'chenas Atika, but Atik Yoimim Shula Ma'alam B'chenas Chachma, which is even infinitely higher than Chachma, Nikra Saba Disabed, the great grandfather. Ukamoisha Nikra B'chenas Atika, just like, for example, we also say that Atika is called Kodesh Kadashim. Chachma and Bina is called Kodesh. Chachma primarily is called Kodesh, and Keser is called Kodesh Kadashim. Chachma Bina Nikra Kadashim. Avul Atika, but Atik Yaimim Nikra Kodesh Kadashim. It's called the Holy of the Holy. Kamoike Nikra B'chenes Atika Hanal Saba de Saba. Same idea. And therefore the Shabbos Shuzman Aliyah Sa'olamois. And therefore on Shabbos, which is a time of Aliyah Sa'olamois. We're holding on the second page. Turn over the page 1532. Like 1/3 before the end. On Shabbos, when it's a time of the elevation of the worlds, Nikra Zakein, it's called Zakein, because we go up to a place where the lights of Zakein are shining. The Chiddush of Shabbos, all week long, these madregas exists, but they exist in a transcendental state up there. It's not shining in the world. The Chiddush is that on Shabbos, Sarai Shaloilam, the minister of the world, means the godliness that's within the world, that's the Sar of the world, is enlightened with the lights of Atzilus and the lights that are beyond Atzilus, and that's the meaning, Gam Zakanti. That's on Shabbos. Yom Tov is also a Zman of Aliyahs, not as great as Shabbos, but also an Aliyah. Kamoy can be Yom Tov, Shugam Kein Aliyahs, Meir Gam Kein Mebchenas Atika, is also shining from Atika. It says in Yom Tov, it's not Atik Yomim itself, it's a aura, it's a light of Atik, but it's still Atik. Kamoshakos of Shara Chotzer Apnimis, it's speaking about in Yecheskel, when it's describing the third Beis HaMikdash, it says that there is a gate, Apnimis, the inner gate, which is closed all week long. Hapoine Kodim, that's to the east. Sagar Yeh Sheishus Yemei HaMaisa. During the 6 days of the week, it's locked. Ubeyom HaShabbos Yipaseach, and on the 7th day, on Shabbos, it's open. Ubeyom HaChodesh Yipaseach, and in Rosh Chodesh, it's opened. Shara Chotzer Apnimis Koi Bechlal Al Olam Atzilus. In general, it's called on the world of Atzilus, which during the week we don't have access to Atzilus consciousness. Shu Poine Kodim, it's Poine Lebchinas Kadmoine Shaloilam. It turns to the Kadmoine Shaloilam Kedem, what is before. Sagur Yeh Sheishis Yemei HaMaisa. So we don't have Kadmoine Shaloilam consciousness. It's a bit. Avo b'yom HaShabbos Yipaseach. On Shabbos it opens up. Shemeir b'chinas Atzilus Gam b'yom HaChodesh Yipaseach. And on Yom HaChodesh also. So definitely on Yom Tov. Nimtza Ha'ayin Yomim Tovim. The 70 Yomim Tovim, which we explained earlier, means the 52 Shabboses that we have in a year, plus the 18 days of holiday, of Yom Tov that we have. Shemeir b'hem chenes Atika, which in them is shining from Atik. Nikram b'shem Zekenim, they're called Zekenim. Shatikra Nikra Zakein. And one of the reasons why Atika is called Zakein is because the hashpah from there can only come through the beard. Because the hashpah, we're dealing with a level that is no tzimtzumim, it's Ein Sof. For something to shine down into the world can't come through a limb, through an organ, because that would be too much. Can only come through tiny little hair follicles. But that hair is a white beard. It's loiven. It's white because there's no dinim there. It's Ein Sof. It's all chesed. It's V'zer shayches ha'ayin Sanhedrin. Now the 70 Sanhedrin that Moshe Rabbeinu selected, that were with him, they were also plugged in to levels of Atik Yoim. And that's why the Medrash says that where do we have the 70 Sanhedrin from? It's almost like everything exists, let me put it this way. Everything exists, Olam, Shana, and Nefesh. Everything exists on these levels. Olam is time, Olam is space, Shana is time, and Nefesh is souls. So in Olam, in Shana, in time, we have 70 Zekanim every year. We have 70 sages during time, in time. Who are the 70 sages? Shabbosim and Yomim Tovim, these are the 70 sages. I was learning in Rambam this week, and Rambam says how on Yom Tov and Shabbosim, the people used to come to shul, they used to daven, go home and eat their meal, come back to shul, and everybody would learn. A few hours. Then they would go home and they'd spend the rest. But Yom Tov was made, Lahakal Kehillah, is for extra learning. Why extra learning on Yom Tov? It's a time of, it's the day itself is a day of, what would be a good word? Sagit. There's no word sagidity. But there is a word sage in I forgot what the word is. I once heard someone say that. What? Any case, the days are, so just like it is in Zaman, it's also in Nefesh. Amongst the Jewish people, there are 70 Zekanim who are plugged in to such wisdom, to such knowledge, and in them is shining the lights higher even of Atzilus than Atik Yoim. Now they're also called the eyes of the assembly. Al Shem Ein Hashem, the eye of Hashem that is shining in them. Val Yedei Ma Zochu Lekach. He doesn't give much beer in this idea of why Dafka Ein eye. I think in the other Maimarim that I was like kind of skimming, there is a little bit of beer, but I didn't get a chance to do this. Val Yedei Ma Zochu Lekach. And through what were they Zoich? Val Yedei Avaydas Amamata Lamayla. They had a very high avodah, these Zekanim. Gam came b'pchinas Riyah l'stakala b'yakara d'malka. In the Zohar it talks about a very high avodah called Riyah. There are people that their avodah is to gaze at the glory of the king. L'stakala b'yakara d'malka. Ein ha'eda, the eyes of the people. Libaftani ba'achad me'enayach. You've captured me, Hashem says. You captured my eye, my heart with one of your eyes. V'yesh b'zeh kri uksiv. In the word ba'achad ksiv, ba'achas kri, shu b'chenes yichud elav, yichud tata, it's discussed in Chassidus, al yedei zeh himshichu meb'chenes atika, b'chenes ein Hashem. Okay. Elchein inyan Sanhedrin. Okay. So once we understand that Sanhedrin are plugged into such a high place, for that reason the Sanhedrin haya dinu mishpat. That's the reason why the Sanhedrin, their inyan. What's the inyan of the Sanhedrin? They're the ones who do din and mishpat. L'chora, what shaykhs does it have din and mishpat to Sanhedrin that are zekanim on such a high level? Adarabah, we said before that from there, the beard is white. White shows on chesed, and so on and so forth. We come over here, dinu mishpat, that the job of the Sanhedrin, their main inyan is to do din and mishpat. The hinek siv, so he explains like this. Atik Yoimen, this level of Pnimius HaKeser, is higher than 10 spheros. If it's higher than the 10 spheros, then it's higher than the Shem Havaya. It's higher than the Yud Kei Vavke. Because the Yud Kei Vavke represent the 10 spheros. Yud is Chachma, Hey is Bina, Vav is the 6 spheros. So the Zekanim that are plugged in Atik Yoimen are higher. If they're higher means that we have to draw, in order for them to be mashpia to the world, in order for that light to come down, to come into the world, it has to go through a tzimtzum. Without a tzimtzum, it's not coming. So from them, in other words, they need to bring down Yud Kei Vavke. So there's a pasuk that says, by Avram Avinu, V'shamru derech havaya, it says that, it's this week in the parasha. Hashem says, Yedaitiv, I love him. Ki Yedaitiv, Hashem says, I love him so much. L'mana sheyetzave es banav, because he's going to command his children. V'shamru, he's going to guard derech Hashem, the way of God. Lasei tzedakah o mishpat. To do tzedakah, charity, or tzedakah, and mishpat, and mishpat. So what does that mean? Pidish derech havaya means sheyimshach u mishave mibchinas ein soif baruch hu ba'atzmusai b'chinas shem havaya. Shem Havaya needs to be developed from the Or Ein Sof, because the Or Ein Sof is infinitely beyond Havaya. It has to develop into a Yud Kei Vav Kei. Shem Havaya hu makar l'chol hisavos. Because Shem Havaya is already, the mere fact that we're calling him Havaya. Havaya means what? A Lashon Mahava. He's bringing into existence. Can we say that on God himself? That God brings into existence? God is infinitely beyond bringing anything into existence. So when Hashem brings something into existence, means he's lowering himself down beneath himself to be a source for bringing things into existence. So therefore, Havaya, Yud Kei Vav Kei, is a tremendous drop from the level of Atika Kadisha, which is referring to Hashem's more essential state. So that's the meaning of Vishamru Derech Havaya. What's Derech Havaya? We have to open up a path. Follow? We have to open up a path to enable a Yud Kei Vav Kei to emerge. Shem Havayu makar l'chol esavos ki Havayu malashim ahav. V'hinei afilu Shem Havayu hu rak b'chenes ha'ara. So that's only a ray of him. B'chenes atzmusay. K'mo shekasuv ani Havayu hu shemi. It's only my name. Shu rak b'chenes Shem va'ara. Name is always only considered a ray of someone. V'hinei kedei sheyamshich b'chenes atzmusay mil ma'ila m'Shem Havayu. In order that it should be drawn from Hashem's very essence above Havaya. Sheyiyah Shem Havaya, that Shem Havaya should come into existence, b'chenas makar lehishavos, a source to bring into a being. Tzarech lasos b'chenas derech. We have to open up a channel. We have to open a path. Sheyiyah Shem Havaya. Where do we find that? K'mo shekasav, it says in the pasuk, Chanun v'rachum Havaya. What does that mean? It's not only a description that Hashem is Chanun v'rachum, he's compassionate. What it really means is, in order to be able to have Havaya, we have to first have Chanun v'rachum. Hashem has to have mercy on us to lower himself down to become a Mahava. Shetzarech lo'oirer b'chinas rachmim rabim. We have to evoke tremendous mercy. She is Shem Havaya, that there should be a Shem Havaya. Ki mitzad atzmusay, because from Hashem's on his own, afilu b'chinas Shem Havaya ein aroich elov. Even Havaya has no comparison to him. U'b'chinas zois nikrat b'shem tzedakah. Now, how do we accomplish that? How is that brought about? That from Atik Yoimin, from places that are so Ein Sof, that it should open up a channel of Yud Kei Vav Kei, which is, so that's the Indian of tzedakah. When we give tzedakah, what are we doing? We're opening up life channels to people that are less fortunate, that don't have. So through our tzedakah that we're doing, we're creating that pathway. We're opening up a path for a lakus to descend from beyond Havaya into Havaya. That's what it says this week in the pasuk. And whose job is that? That's the job of Avram Avinu, the job of all the Jewish people. On all these levels of channeling godliness. That's why we say that the Eibishter says, I love him. Why do I love him? Ki yadaitiv. Why? Lamanashit. V'shamru derech. They're going to open up the derech for Yud Kei Vav Kei. How? They're gonna open up pathways in me to contract myself into Yud Kei Vav Kei, lasis tzedakah or mishpat, by doing tzedakah and mishpat. And he's going to explain why we need both. We need tzedakah and mishpat. Once we understand why we need tzedakah and mishpat, we're going to understand why the Sanhedrin, they're the mishpat part. They're the ones who assist in this inyan. Okay. This is tremendous tzedakah for Hashem that it should be drawn from Hashem's very self. The Shem Havaya to be a source for all beingness. And in order to evoke this tzedakah and this rachmim, from above. B'chinas derech, that there should be a way, sheyiyah Shem Havaya, that there should be a Yud Kei Vav Kei, who are the tzedakah sha'adam oisa lamata. It's through the tzedakah that people do down here. U'machaya ruach shefolim, and he enlivens the spirit of the lowly. We think about how much acts of tzedakah were done today, throughout, from Australia, from when it became day in Australia, and the first Jews went to daven, and they were giving tzedakah in shul and pushkis and giving and throughout Eretz Yisroel and all the way to New York, how many checks were written, how much tzedakah. And we realized, okay, it's another day of tzedakah. It's not. It's huge. It keeps the flow. It it stimulates at the quintessence, even higher than God's name Havaya, to open up channels from Hashem himself into Yud Kei Vav Kei. That he should give life to the lowly. To him, everything is lowly. Because from Hashem's very self that is above Havaya, everybody can receive. And as we said earlier, remember we mentioned this, we don't want it to remain on that level. Over there, darkness and light is equal. And therefore, here is where he brings that in. And we spoke earlier, the spider, where everybody grabs the spider, but in such a high place, in the palaces of kings, the spider runs around and no one bothers to care about it. And therefore, if God's light remains above Havaya, it gives access to really bad guys. Oh, no, man, I made a mistake. It's not, it's just, it seems like there's... Okay, so you're mamshech tzedakah. But the problem is, since you're being mamshech from such a high place, who knows where the channels are going to go? Over there is Ein Sof. Over there, there's no discrimination. Over there, there's no... To there, the Eibush, on such a high place where you're starting the hamshacha. Later on, you don't have a problem. But on such a high place where you're starting the hamshacha, God forbid, there is a danger for what? For free access to places that are... So therefore, the tzedakah needs to have a mishpat immediately. You need to have... And what? Liyas tzedakah b'mishpat. You need to have mishpat, which is judgment and discrimination, immediately along with the tzedakah. But take a look how Chassidus develops this. Tzedakah and mishpat say, okay, I need to have tzedakah, I need to have mishpat. So I'm going to get tough on everybody. I'm going to be kind to everybody and tough on everybody. No. The tzedakah, the mishpat is to yourself. The mishpat is you judge yourself. In what sense do you judge yourself? In the tzedakah, you judge yourself. And that is, there is a certain natural goodness that we all have. After all, we're all children of Avram, Yitzchak, and Yaakov, so we have embedded in our DNA compassion and kindness and so forth. But we still want to leave a nice chunk of money for ourselves so that we can take care of all of our needs. And then whatever is Ibrik left over, we really know that we will never need that, then we give it away. So that's nice. But it says in Chassidus, that's the chesed of Yishmael. That's the way Yishmael does kindness. The Arabs also do a lot of kindness. But that's that kind of a kindness. The kindness of a Jew, the real holy kindness, is when you're doing kindness in a manner where you're disciplining yourself and you're keeping only minimal for yourself and everything else you give away. And you judge yourself that, do I really need this? No, that's too much of a luxury. I don't need that. I can give it away. I don't need that. I need basics. For everybody else, I'll give everything. And that's usually the opposite psychology. A person who is being very disciplined on himself, and he says, I don't need, I can drink a plain coffee, I don't need a latte. Because a coffee, it'll cost me $5, I make it my own in my own house. If I go out to buy a latte, it's $3. But then if I see a thirsty person, whatever, it'll never occur to me to offer him a latte. I'm not going to have a latte, and he should have a latte. You know what? I'll invite you to have coffee. I'll give you 5 cents for coffee. Nah, that's the ultimate. For the other person, the only reason why, you turn it around, the only reason you have an appreciation for a latte is so that you can buy the other guy the latte. And for yourself, you can say, I can survive without it. That's the ultimate mishpat that you do on your own. As he says over here, we want to set up some firewall, that the hamshacha should only go in the side of holiness. It should not flow freely into the other side. Why? They should know in tzedakah b'mishpat. You activate the firewall. You activate the barracuda, right, network, to make sure that none. He shouldn't be seek excessive extras. He gives it all to tzedakah. Even though it says in the pasuk your life comes first, but that's chayecha dafka. That's dafka your life. That's the must. Things your basic needs for living. For extra stuff, tzedakah comes first. And when a person does this kind of a mishpat with himself, lamata, a person evokes above as well. Number one, it should draw down the tzedakah, gam came b'mishpat. It should also be with mishpat, dafka l'sitra de kedusha. So it will only flow to the side of holiness. V'zeu shamru derech havaya, pirish derech, away. Shehi Hashem havaya, the Shem havaya should come out. Me'at s'musay mahusay, from Hashem's very self. Huayadei lasi tzedakah. In order to cause it to come down to begin with, you need to do tzedakah. But in order to focus it, but in order that the hamshacha, the flow, should come dafka to the side of holiness, to a person doing mishpat below. Since the Sanhedrin, they are the ones who are plugged in at the very, 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 very beginning of the flow. That's why they're called Zakein. Zakein is because they're plugged into Zeshakana, even higher than Chachma. In Ein Sof, they're the ones, that even from there, only the Saros. That's what the Rebbe Rashab says, interesting, that where did you put the Sanhedrin? Dafke, the Kodesh HaKadoshim, and the Migdash. Because in the Beis HaMikdash was the place where the whole Hashpah comes to the whole world. Think about it. The Hashpah to the whole world comes from where? Comes from the Beis HaMikdash. And dafka over there, you need to have a discrimination, a Sanhedrin, sitting over there to give. And you know what else he brings? Maybe he's going to say it later, or maybe not. I think the other versions, the Mizbeach, you being mamshech all this into Malchus. The Mizbeach had a reshes. A reshes is a screen that went around it. It was like it was like a sifter. I always thought, when I was trying to figure out the spiritual dynamics of this reshes, the michbar, it's also called the michbar, that went around the Mizbeach. I always thought because the Mizbeach is Mavarer Berurim, it's Malchus, and all the Berurim are going up. So just like when you do a birur, you have to select. The psiles goes out, and the chayos, the good, like the body takes food, it right away selects the nutrients and the good stuff, and it makes it part of the body. The junk goes out. So I always thought that the inyan of the michbar was mainly for aliyah, because the tzutzos are going up. You have to peel away the shmutz and leave only the pneumias. Maybe that's true, and maybe it says that somewhere, but I never saw it. In the Maimer over here, it's the opposite. It's when the hamshachas are coming down from above, from high up, there has to go through a filter, there has to be some kind of a discrimination. Once it goes into the Mizbeach, and the Mizbeach is Malchus, which is the source of the worlds, over there particularly there has to be a very strong, what is it called, controller, who controls where the money will go, that it will not just be squandered and who knows where. Now Avram Avinu wasn't only mamshech the Eishel. What did we learn before is the Eishel. The Eishel are the spherois of Atzilus, the attributes. Avram didn't only draw down the Eishel, Shalom, but he also reached Atika that's higher than Shem Havaya. Not just Havaya, but even beyond Havaya. That's why Chazal say, and here you understand an amazing medrash. Chazal say that till Avram, no one aged. There was no aging until we don't find someone. People lived, and then at a certain point they just died, but there wasn't aging. Avram was the first one with a white beard. Avram lo have a zikna. Avram rachmi. It says that Avram pleaded and davened. He said, "How will the person know to start, preparing for his departure?" So the Avram davened, give a sign to a person. So that's what the Eibishter gave aging, and it was Avram's request. Isn't that amazing? But what's the deeper meaning? Till Avram Avinu, no one was connecting Atik Yomen down here. So the white hairs from above didn't show up over here. But Avram was the first one to age. They have a zikna, Avram Zakein. It says in next week's parasha, Avram Zakein, Avram. The Indian who, and the idea is Avram Himshach Gam came Ebchenes Atika. Avram was also drawn from Atik. She was Shenikras Zakein, that's called Zakein Keneskadal. Vayedei Ma Zacha Avram Lazeh. How did Avram creep up so high to be able to draw down from Atik Yomen in such a high place? And the emphasis, the depth of the question is, it can't be because of any of his avodah, because we're dealing with a place where nothing is meaning. Everything is merit doesn't mean anything. Because what's the merit? The merit is your merit is within the system, but the whole system means nothing. So how can you be zoichet to be mamshech from there? The answer is, it wasn't through an avodah that Avram did positive. It was through Avram doing the bris milah, which is, that content of bris milah is pulling down the barrier. In other words, it wasn't through something that he did that he deserved it. It's because he removed the barrier. What's the barrier? The great infinite divide that the Eibishter placed to separate ultimately between the Orein Soif and Olam Eis. The Bris Milah, as we spoke last week, Amaltem Ares Lavavchem, it goes on many, many levels, all the way up to remove the most important mechitzas that are up there, but even that, Avram cracked through that, and to allow transportation from above down here. Hineksiv, it says in the pasuk, Soid Havaya le'areyav, the secret of Havaya. So here's an amazing thing. What's Havaya? Here, this is Gavaldi. It gets better and better every second of the Maayon. What's Havaya? Havaya are the 10 spheres. What's Soid Havaya? The secret of Havaya means the pnimius of Havaya. What's higher than Havaya? And that's the lights that are beyond the Esser spheres. Soid Havaya. Soid is Gematria what? 70. What did we say before? How many Zakenim are there? 70 Zakenim. The Hamshacha from Atik Yoimin, it's called Zakein, 70. Soid Havaya, so the pasuk says like this, Soid Havaya, the secret of Havaya, liyareyav to those who fear him, ubrisoi, and his covenant, lohidiyam, to notify them. So Chazal say like this, as a result of brisoi, that Avram Avinu, Hashem notified to Avram his bris, his covenant, and he did the circumcision, and as a result of that, Soid Havaya was revealed to him, liyareyav, to those who fear him. Ubrisoi lohidiyam, Soid bigamatria shivim. Soid is Gematria 70. The Isa, the Kal, Ashivim Nefesh. And it actually says, it's referring to the 70 Nefesh. That how was Avram Avinu Zochet to 70 Nefesh that went down to Mitzrayim with Yaakov? 70 souls. And the Gamala Ayin Sanhedrin. It says it's referring to the 70 Sanhedrin. What's the connection? Now, Avram was Zochet as a result of his bris. But now we understand. Because the bris peeled away these mechitzas. We'll see soon. In what merit did the Eibishter give Avram Avinu that he's going to have 70 Sanhedrin? In the merit of Milah, Soid Havaya, the secret of Havaya, Liyareyav, to those who fear him, B'schus, in which schus, Ubrisai Lahidiyam, B'schus in the Soid the 70 is given Liyareyav to those, that's Avram Avinu, in which schus, Ubrisai Lahidiyam. The Inyan, what's the idea? Apiyah now look based on what we said before. Sha'ayin Zakenim at the 70 Zakenim Sharsham B'chenes Atika. Their source is from Atik Yoimen. V'Avram Himshich Zois Al Yedei Mitzvah Smila. And Avram Avinu drew this down because of the mitzvah of Milah. Hasara Sa'orla. When Avram Avinu peeled away the Orla. Ki Kol's Man Orla Chayfefes. As long as the Orla is sitting, is covering, Ein Yachalias, as the foreskin is there, Ein Yachalias Eskalos B'chenezu. Can't have a revelation for something so high. Why? It says in the pasuk Ve'evdilo lachem ha'paroiches that the paroiches should separate bein hakodesh or bein kodesh hakadosh, between the holy and the holy of holies. Sha'arei b'chinas paroiches mafsik. So there's a paroiches there. There's a partition. What's kodesh hakadoshim? What did we say earlier? Chacham and Bina is called kadoshim. Keser and Pnimis HaKeser is called kodesh hakadosh. There is a paroiches. There is a partition. Shaloi haya yeh giloi b'chinas kodesh hakadosh. There can't be a revelation of Holy of Holies, but through the Avram Avinu Shekayim Avram, the Heiser Esa Orla, and he removed the Orla. Heiser al Yadei Esa Paroiches. Understand something? All the partitions are connected one to each other. So the Orla is it's klipa, it's already darkness. But ultimately, the klipa is deriving from holy levels of separation that serve as partitions and screens. You can't get a klipa that will block godliness unless you first have levels of refined levels that are not negative, that are serving as blockages. Not blockages, but screens, filters to filter the light. So, but when you cut it away at the coarsest level, it has a retroactive domino effect, and it's removing the partitions all the way to the first highest levels of partitions. That there should be a revelation of the Kodesh HaKadosh. That's why it makes sense when it says, I've said last week, Bezois Yavai Aaron ala Kodesh. What gave Aaron HaKohen the Kohen Gadol ability to go into the Kodesh HaKadoshim? Bezois in the merit of the Milah. Because or else there's a wall there. He can't go through. The fact that the door opened up for him and he was able to go in. Now he comes back. Avram Avinu, since he also has what? Connection to such a high level. And what did we say before? From this high level, you need to have tzedakah or mishpat. Tzedakah, to draw down. Mishpat, in order to focus it. Ki Avram himshich sheyeh b'chinas derech havaya. Avram Avinu was mamshich, a canal. V'zeu adeya sha'amar, asher Vayita Eishel shekaseh b'Avram, hu kamoy Eishel berama, they call Sanhedrin. Now it's interesting. For those who weren't here before, there's a third opinion that says, what is Eishel? It says Sanhedrin. And where do we know it's Sanhedrin? Because in Chassidus, everything is so perfect. In Torah, everything is perfect. But Chassidus reveals the perfection. Where do we learn out that Eishel means Sanhedrin? Because there's a pasuk in Shmuel where it says that Shaul was sitting begiva, tachas Eishel berama. So Chazal darshan, what does that mean? That what gave, is he in Giva or is he in Rama? Which place is he? So Chazal say, Be'ezes chus was Shaul leading his court in Giva because Shmuel lived in Ramot, in a high place. Because Shmuel and his Sanhedrin, Eishel, which means Sanhedrin, we're up in Rama. Okay, but you see Gavaldik. Sanhedrin belongs Birama. What's Rama? Rama is Keser. Rama is Roimamos. Where is the Eishel? And what does Eishel mean? Sanhedrin. Where do you need that level of Eishel? Up there, because or else you have a free-for-all take. So you need to have Mishpat over there. And Avram, and we learn out from that Eishel over there, we learn out, since it says Eishel over here too. So the Eishel by Avram Avinu is the same like he put up Sanhedrin. So you see from here, why? Because there's the idea. The regular Pirush of Eishel that we read till now, the earlier Pirush, that it means a hotel or it means a orchard, that's referring to a flow from Atzilus into Bria Tzir Nasi. Now the third opinion is Mechadish much deeper. That Avram Avinu was mamshich from a higher place. He was mamshich from Ein Sof, from Atik Yomen, and over there you have to set up a Sanhedrin. Eishel berama, they call Sanhedrin. V'chihakol inyan echad, that's all one inyan keniskaliya. V'zeu inyan mashakasav Eishel berama, dafkin rama, kihine ksiv. He's going to explain how the level of Rama is the place that you dafkin need Sanhedrin. Because you find that from a place of Rama, the what's it called? Naturally, the merits, the condition of the recipient doesn't have such an impact, because it's over there. Hashem is so exalted that things don't matter what happened down here. Where do we find it? We find that there were two kings, David HaMelech and Shaul. We find an interesting thing. David HaMelech gets away with doing bigger sins, even though Chazal say that David never sinned, but still, as it is recorded, David HaMelech did bigger sins. Shaul HaMelech did less sins. He only did one sin. But Shaul's one sin knocked him off. He lost his kingdom. And David HaMelech sinned 2 sins, it says, and he was exonerated. And not only that, he's the king forever. And the reason is, is because the Medrash has an interesting thing. Because Shmuel, when he appointed Shaul HaMelech, he used a jug. He used a pach, a jug. When he appointed David HaMelech, he used a keren, a horn. And so it says like this: David HaMelech that was appointed with a horn, Nimshach Malchusa, his kingdom lasts forever. Shaul that was Nimshach, he was anointed with a pach. So what does that mean? What's the difference? Question is, when God decided to make Shaul a melech, where was Hashem coming from? Where did the decision come from? So he's going to explain a pach is where you put shemen. Shemen goes in a pach. Shemen oil is chachma. We speak about the Chassidus all the time. Chachma is associated. When Chazal say that if you want to have wise children, you want to have children to be the chachamim, you should light Shabbos candles with oil. People, because oil is a simon for chachma. When they were looking for a wise woman in the days of, in the days of David HaMelech, they wanted a woman to be able to pass over a message to the king in a smart way. They went to a place called Tekoa, and they got this woman because a lot of olives grew over there. And shemen is chachma. That's it. Shemen is chachma. Pach shemen means the level of chachma, the container of chachma. If Shaul was anointed with a pach shemen, means that anointed means where is his kingdom coming from? Where is his power coming from? His power is coming from chachma. What does that mean? It means when God decided to appoint him as a king, God was choosing intellectually. Hashem looked for the person that is the most worthy. It was based on merit. Because Hashem was coming from a place of reason. From a place of reason, he chose him. And Shaul was a tzaddik, and he was not just a tzaddik, he was head and shoulders, as the pasuk actually says. He was taller, and which spiritually he was taller, way above everybody else. He was made king. Since if you choose someone based on their merit, so if they futched on their merit, lost it. Because the whole thing was merit-based. David HaMelech's kingdom was not from Chachma, it was from Keser. David HaMelech became king not because he was the worthiest. When Shmuel lined up all the children of this, he didn't even think of him. It wasn't the worthiest. They were all great tzaddikim. David HaMelech became king because he's the seventh in this family. We call Ashvi and Chavivin, and the seven are precious because so Hashem chooses, not because of any reason. It's because so he wants. It's like a person making a decision just because, not because of any reason. So therefore, even though David HaMelech sinned and based on worthiness, it didn't begin with a reason. It began just with a pleasure and a delight and a desire that Hashem has infinitely beyond reason, which is the levels of Ratzain and Tainug, which are higher than Chachma. And that's the idea of a Karen. Where's a horn? A horn goes above the head. It's not in the head. It's on top of the seichel. And that's why Nimshach HaMalchus. So what do you see from here? That the level of Rama, which is used by David HaMelech, and where do we see that? And that's why Chana, when she's praising Hashem, when Shmuel HaNavi was born, what does Chana say? Rama Karni Ba'Hashem. She's already seeing the ultimate achievement of Shmuel, that he's going to anoint David HaMelech with a Rama, which means that Shmuel was able to draw down from a place of Ram, and she's the mother of Shmuel. She's already singing about that great Roimamus. But you see from there that a person can violate and still it won't affect him. That's why it's dangerous. So that's why you have to put Sanhedrin there. See, that itself causes the reason you have to put a Sanhedrin on such a high level, because or else, who knows who can come and access that place. V'omer Razal Chazal say Rama Karni v'loy Rama Pachi. Why did she say Rama Karni and not Rama Pachi? Pachi means my Pach. Ki Shol shenimshach bepach. Because Shol, that was Nimshach, he became anointed with a jug. Loy Nimshach Malchusa. His kingdom did not continue on. Aval David, but David HaMelech shenimshach bekeren. That was drawn Nimshach Malchusa. His kingdom continued. Ki Pach Shol Shemen. Pach is Shemen. Shemen is B'chinas Chachma. It's the levels of Chachma. Ki Amalucha Shel Shol, because the kingdom of Shol Hayal Pi Chachma was based on Chachma. Shol Yebechir Hashem, he was the chosen of God. Mishichma Yamayla Gavoya Mikol Am, from his shoulders and higher, he was above everybody, and physically he was taller than everyone, because spiritually, Pirishichma Hu Amidos is an amazing thing. Shechem, shoulders, represent the emotions, because here is the heart, this is the emotions. If his shoulders are higher than the heads of everybody, it means that his emotions were higher than everybody else's intellect. Usually intellect is much higher than emotions. So can you imagine what his intelligence was? If his emotions were more sophisticated than than other people's intelligence. When I say other people, we mean all the greatest chachamim of the generation, all tzaddikim, he was way above them. Other people's chacham. I think it's supposed to be Hoya, maybe Hoya Malchusay al Pi Chachma. I'm not exactly sure what the Shin Chaf is. And that's why his Malchus was not drawn. Shol Ba'achas, that's why he sinned one time, Va'ol Salai, and it counted for him, which means it counted to dismiss him, to dethrone him. Shagaram Lo Yachet, the sin already, they caused him to lose it. Ki al pi chachma goyrem chet va'avoin, because based on chachma, sin has an effect. V'nasa pegam, and it creates a blemish. Aval David b'shtayim, but David HaMelech sinned twice. V'loy also loy, and he didn't lose it. Ki David ula ma'ila mebchinas chachma. David is above chachma. Hagam she David u b'chinas malchus. David is the level of malchus. Ach Yedu, it is known, and malchus is much lower. It's much lower even than Shol. Shol is bina. That's why it says in Bereshis, Shol merachayvais hanohar. Even though it's not talking about that Shol, it's talking about the kings of Edom, but it's the same name. Shol comes from rachayvais hanohar, which rachayvais hanohar is bina. And David HaMelech is malchus, which is much lower than bina. But we know that dafka, the lowest sphera, is what? Rooted in the highest. Higher than chachma. Shenot soifim b'tchilas, sheshayrish ha-malchus ulamayla mayla mebchinas chachma, even above chachma. Elachei nimshach malchusay, that's why his kingdom shaloi garam lo yachet. His chet did not. V'zeh rama karni, my Karen is exalted. K'mo shekasa v'atam moroim. The word moroim lo oila moroim u'pchenes atika is the levels of atik. U'pchenes ani avaya lo shanisi. And over there can't be any change. If God decided that He's going to be king, David Melech Yisroel Chai v'Kayam. Reason and all that is not. He's my chosen one. Achas nishbati bekachi and leDavid achazev. Hashem swears. It's an oath. There's no changing. There's no. It's even. And what does the pasuk even say? You remember Tehillim? Im yazvu banav teirasi. Even if they're going to forsake my Torah and this, I'm going to punish them. But I'm never going to forsake them, because it came from a place that's atzmios. It's essence. It's not reason. It's not seichel. V'zeh Eishel berama. That's the meaning of Eishel and Rama. Shebchenas Eishel magia lebchenas Rama. That the Eishel reaches such a high level of Rama. Shubchenas Rama karni. Shalamaylam lebchenas Chachma. Higher than Chachma. The Koyal Sanhedrin, it's referring to the Sanhedrin. Shashayrish Sanhedrin, Taka, the root of the Sanhedrin, whom lebchenas Rama, is from the level of Rama. That's what we said, they're called Zakein. Zakein means lebchenas Atika, Keniskalel, as we said earlier. V'Avram himshich gam came lebchenas Azois. And Avram Avinu also was mamshech from this lofty level, Keniskalel. And therefore, Vayita Eishel beBe'er Sheva, who b'chenas Sanhedrin is the level of Sanhedrin. Pirish himshech b'chenas Malchus, he drew down into Malchus. Number one, Hagilui meb'chenas Eishel shehu berama, from Eishel and not stam Eishel as it is all the way up in Rama. V'hine hadeya shesoiver she'Eishel hu pardes. The opinion that says that Eishel is an orchard. Ha'inyan shavram himshech meb'chenas esespheres tatzilus. It's a much lower hamshacha. It's from the 10 spheres of Atzilus, L'Pchenas Malchus, to Malchus Mekor de Biyah, the source of Bria Tzir Nasi. Avaladeyo, but the opinion, Shesoive She'Eishel hu Sanhedrin, and Eishel is a Sanhedrin, an Inyan who? What's the idea? Shehimshech Mepchenas Atika, he was mamshech from even higher, Shalamayla Gam Mepchenas Chachma, that's above Chachma, L'Pchenas Malchus Shenikra Be'er Sheva, to Malchus that's called Be'er Sheva. The Indian, okay. So now we're going to do a little break. It's not too much longer. We have maybe 45 minutes, and we'll finish. But we'll do a little break, and then we'll continue. Chaya. Who would have ever thought there's so much in a little pasuk, right? Where's Daniel? Where's our good friend Daniel? I didn't know. I was traveling. I went to New York. Okay. Shall we continue? The Indian Eishel Oisi is Sha'al. Now we said earlier that Eishel is the same letters the Medrash connects the word Eishel with Sha'al, which Avram Avinu is telling the people, Sha'al, you can ask me for whatever you want. You want dates, you want apples, you want this. Kasev is like, so he's going to explain the deeper meaning of that. The idea that Eishel is Oisi is Sha'al. The pasuk says, it says, Ki Sha'al no liyamim rishonim. Please ask for the early days. And it's a pasuk in Devarim somewhere, or Veschanon or Akev. So Moshe Rabbeinu says to the Jewish people, ask of the early days, has such a thing ever happened? But you see that the word sha'al, ask, is related to the early days. You can ask about it. So what does it mean, early days? So general days, we know our 7 days of the week correspond to the 7 midos, and the midos are called days. But just like a day is light, day and night, but there's after the darkness comes light. So too through the various 7 spheros, emotions, Hashem's light comes into the world. But here it doesn't just say days; it says the early days. So first he says Pidish Yamim Rishonim Zayim Midas Ta'atzilus, and the reason why, in this sense, the reason l'chura why we would call them Rishonim is because the 7 midos later translate into the 3 lower worlds. There is midos in each world, so maybe these are called Rishonim because it's the first level of the spheres. Hamzayim midas datzilus, Hamzayim yemei bereshis, 7 days of creation, and that's why they're called Rishonim, because there's the 7 days of Bereshis and Rishonim are the same idea. Bereshis means in the beginning. Yoim in the Rishonim shen Zayin yemei bereshis. Heiru Zayin midas al yoines tatzilus. And they're connected because the 7 early days at the beginning of creation, every day another midah of atzilus was shining that day. Kiyadua. Sha'olam nivra al yedei or gevoya. The worlds were created through a high light. K'mayim Razal Chazal say, or shenivra b'yoyim arishayin. The first day was the powerful lights of Chesed. And therefore it was Adam Arishan Mabid Mesoifa Olam Atsoifai. Adam Arishan can look from one end of the world to the other end of the world. Okay. Upidish. Once we know that's what it means. Yamim Rishayim. Upidish Ki Sha'al No Yamim Rishayim. Ask for the early days. The Indian, the idea is Ki B'midas Al Yoines Tatzilus Yachaliyas Hashayla. If you're saying ask also means investigate. So when we're researching and trying to know something of the divine, we can have somewhat of an understanding and an appreciation in the spheroids of Atzilus, primarily the 7 lower spheroids. The 3 first ones we can't, but on the 7 lower spheroids we can have some kind. It's shayach to be choker, it's shayach to investigate them. The asaga, Kamoshe Kasev, like it says. Pasuk says, you should lift up your eyes. Lift up your eyes. Uru'u, and see mi bara, who created. Since the 6 days of creation were responsible for creation. Actually, the Zohar says, Sheishes yamim asa Hashem. The Zohar says that the 6 days themselves, Sheishes yamim, the 6 days themselves, the 6 midos, asa Hashem, asa, they were the ones who made, Hashem made through the 6 midos the creation. So they're responsible for creation. So when it says Re'u mi bara, it's a shaykh you can inquire about it. Who created it? Avol b'bchenas gimel rishaynos, but in the first 3 spheres, which is Chabad, Chachma bin Adas, Chachmasay benasay v'daitay, and Lamayla ma'ashayla v'hasaga. That's a level above. It's a level above inquiry. You can't inquire because it doesn't make sense to inquire about something that is impossible to know. That's why it says, in that which is concealed from you, al tachkar, do not investigate. Similar to the idea that we say that the 6 emotions are called alma dizgalia, revealed world, and Yud-K, the first 2 letters of Hashem's name, which represent Chachma and Bina, are called alma dizkasya, the concealed world. They're hidden from you. V'zeu she'Eishel. Now, Eishel, what did we say before? Eishel is the spherois of Atzilus in general, but primarily it's the 6 emotions that he drew down into Be'er Sheva, into Malchus. So therefore it's Oisi, Sha'al, because you can ask about them. V'zeh she'Oisi is she'Eishel, Oisi is Sha'al, Sha'yadei ha'Eishel, through the Eishel. Shehu magia lebchinas Rama, shehu bchinas kiloi Adam, which is, but this is not Stam the Eishel. This is the Eishel, as we spoke earlier, that reaches to a very high place. Shehu bchinas kiloi Adam, to a level where Hashem is not a man. That's, in Atzilus, Hashem is called a man. And beyond Atzilus is the level of kiloi Adam. And the Eishel is connecting, we learned, Eishel Berama, the high Eishel. Hu nimshach sheyegilui b'chinas hayamim rishonim lamata gam hayom. That the 6 days of creation, which are concealed, because what happened? Initially, at the beginning of creation, they were revealed. And then what does it say? Hashem hid them. It says the first day of creation, Adam Arishon had powerful light. And Hashem went and he hid it. But now, as a result of what's it called again, of Avram Avinu being mamshich the Eishel, he was mamshich that this light of the first day, this hidden oiragonos, this should be revealed. So how does that work? I mean, when he's mamshich, first of all, he established that the midas al yonos you can have a hasaga in them, but higher than that you can't. But then he says that Eishel is drawing from a place that's higher. And this brings the Gilui B'chinas Hayamim Rishonim Lamata Gam Hayom. So I'm not exactly sure. Let's read a little further. Maybe it will fall into place. V'zeu ki sha'alna liyamim Rishonim. So what does that mean? V'u'inyan B'chinas Eishel. And that's the idea of the Eishel. No, but here's the thing. The Yomim Rishonim are shayach to have hashayla, but only because Avram Avinu was megala them in Bria, Yetzir, and Asiyah. If they're not bihis galos, you can't sha'al, you can't ask about them because they're hidden, they're above. But because he was mamshech them, you can ask about them. But why did he have to be attached to it? What I don't get it is, why is he emphasizing that? Because he's mamshech it from a place of Rama. Now you can ask from it, and that I'm not exactly sure. And now we need to understand Pirush HaPasuk, the meaning of the pasuk. Ki ha'adamu eitz hasadeh, that Adam is the tree of the field. So here's an amazing thing. Eitz, as we said earlier, these are the spherois of Atzilus. They're called eitz. Sadeh is Malchus. Malchus is the sadeh, the field. Eitz hasadeh is you're drawing down the eitz, the spherois of Atzilus in Malchus. Pirush b'Zoyar, shehismichu shel hasadeh hu ala adam elyon. That the sadeh relies, it's soymech, it leans, it relies on the eitz. Eitz hasadeh. It relies on the eitz, and which eitz is that? That's the Adam. So what does that mean? In other words, the Sada needs, the way it's explained elsewhere is that the Sada is relying on Adam down here below to bring the eitz into the Sada. But what does that mean? The Inyan, ki asada shu b'chinas malchus, the field which is malchus, makara olam is the biyah bali gvul, is the source. That's the Sada, which is the source of the worlds, Bria, Tzir, and Asiyah, which are limited. V'nivrai me'ayin liyesh. They're created from nothing to something. But the Adam, the supernal man that's above the throne, which is above the Sadeh, he's the eitz of the field. Eitz uloshen eitza, utzu eitza. Eitz is from the word eitza, which means counsel and advice. V'adam elyon hu eitza. That's the eitza, the counsel, the advice. Shel b'chinas hasada of the field. Shu b'chinas malchus. And what does that mean? And that's what it means. It is soymech. She relies on the counsel that she gets from the eitz. To understand this idea of this eitza. It's like it says in the pasuk. It says that the Jewish people were, when they went out of Mitzrayim, it says by the Meraglim. When Moshe Rabbeinu sends the Meraglim, the spies, to spy on the land, it says, go check, you're going to the land. Let's remember that. The land is Malchus. Eretz Yisroel is Malchus. Field, land, same idea. Go to the land and see if there is a tree there. So the same idea that we're saying now, Eitz Hasada. You want to know if there's a tree there. What does that mean? And what does he say? He says, Im yesh ba'etz im ayin. If there is a tree, or if there isn't. Now you have two words over there that are very popular in Chassidus all the time. Yesh and ayin. And we know that Hashem created the world yesh me'ayin. When Moshe Rabbeinu was sending them, he's telling them, go check im yesh ba'etz im ayin if not. The Isa B'Zoyar, Shehu Inyan Echad Im Hashayla, that this question that Moshe Rabbeinu sent them, Em Yesh by Eitz Im Ayin, is connected to another question when the Jewish people went out of Mitzrayim. It says that they maso meriva, they were testing God, and it says Hayesh Hashem B'Kerbeinu, is Hashem amongst us? Im Ayin if not. Simply it meant they were literally questioning, is God with them? The Zohar says that this question, is God with us im ayin, is similar to what Moshe Rabbeinu said, Hayesh ba'etz im ayin. So what does that mean? At first glance, if you read it bepashtus, that the Jewish people are asking, is God amongst us? It's a ridiculous question. This is a generation who just witnessed one after another, miracles after miracles. After all the signs and all the wonders and godly revelation, that was at the going out of Mitzrayim and Bekriyas Yamsuf. Amru im ayin. They still said, if not. Achapirishu. K'moshe Amar Yaakov Avinu alav hashal. There's something much deeper over here. Yaakov Avinu says, in 3-4 weeks from now, we're going to learn Parshas Vayetze. He sleeps in the holy place, and he has the dream about the ladder. And he wakes up and he says, Ochein yesh Hashem b'makom hazeh. Oh, a tremendous chidush. Hashem is in this place. Well, Yaakov Avinu has a great, I don't know how many times, grandson, who taught us that Hashem is here, Hashem is there, Hashem is truly everywhere. So if the Baal Shem Tov knew that, so Yaakov Avinu doesn't know that, and he's saying, Yesh Hashem Ochen Yesh Hashem b'makom hazeh. So what does that mean? The answer is like this: B'makom hazeh v'anoichi lo yadayti, and I didn't know. Shegab kein ain't moving over there. It's also Alay malay chalor. It's kavod. Hashem is everywhere. V'leisa sar panu minei, and Hashem is, and there's no place that He's not. Umau Yesh Havaya b'makom hazeh davka. What does it mean? Havaya is in this place. Inyan, who the idea is like this. Gavaltik. The whole chayos, the whole energy enlivens the world. Me'ayin liyesh, from nothing to something. We learned this all the time. Is only from the lowest attribute, mebchenas malchus. Because all the other energy is filtered, and only the energy of malchus translates into the creation. Malchus becomes the neshama of the world, as it says beferish in the pasuk. Malchuscha, malchus kol olamim. Your power of kingship, your malchus, is the kingship of all worlds. But what is malchus? The attribute of malchus is just like a king. His kingship is not himself. A kingship is just an external kind of a emanation that you emanate over your country. It doesn't have anything of the substance of the king. Just like, and we say that, so Malchus, that's why by Malchus we say, Baruch, Shem, Kavoid, Malchus. It's only a name. It's the renown of the king. It's this aura, it's this light of the king. It's some kind of a renown of the king, but not the king himself. Hurak Shem va'ara ba'alm, it's only a ray. Ma'orein soif baruch. Only a ray. Elechei nikra. And that's why the Bria is called Yesh Maayon. You ever wonder why the creation is called something from nothing? It's created from God. If anything, can you call the world something? God is something. No. But creation is only nibbling. It's only deriving its power and its existence, what? Off what's considered to Hashem, ayin, nothing. Because the energy that Hashem is imbuing in the creation, which is only Sfiras HaMalchus, to him is ayin, is nothing. So it's truly Yesh Maayon. It's not just in our minds. We can't feel it, and no, we call it ayin. No, it's really ayin. Yesh Maayon v'davar nifrat ki al b'chinas v'gilui shem v'ara ba'alma, because on this shame and only on this ray, and on this the creations are able to conceal. This ray of God. Why do the creations that are deriving their sustenance from this energy, why are they able to cover it and conceal it and block it as if they exist on their own? Why the creations can have such chutzpah and deny the very godliness that's creating them? It's because the godliness that's creating them is only a ray of God, and that's why it's a little weak. It's weak in the sense that allows itself to be blocked, concealed, covered, and obscured. But when Hashem gets a little bit more involved, and he imbues in the world not just a ray of his, but his more essential energies start coming, appear in the creation or are drawn into the creation, then that light cannot be obscured. That can't be blocked. Then the creations are powerless on covering up in such an energy. That higher light of Hashem is not called ayin, that's called yesh. Because it's the very substance of godliness. Malchus is ayin, is nothing. But the spheroids above Malchus, the Ze'er Anpin, they're called yesh. Hayesh ba'etz. Eitz, we said before, the spheroids higher than Malchus. Hayesh, that's called yesh. Over here, in the meaning of yesh is not fake yesh, the yesh that we have, that our sense of being. Talking about the true substance of the divine. Malchus is ayin, but the spheroids above Malchus is called yesh. And that's what Yaakov Avinu says. Manoira hamakam hazeh, this place is different than everywhere else. Why is it so different? Because ochen yesh havaya. In the rest of creation is only the ayin. It's only deriving its sustenance from Malchus, from the Shechina, which is called ayin. But over here, God is very intense over here. Yesh havaya over here, because why? Because the Beis HaMikdash is the place of Yichud Kitcha Baruch Hu Shechinte, is where HaKadosh Baruch Hu meets the Shechina. So there's the lights of the transcendental levels of God present in this place, and as a result of that, it's Yesh, and therefore He's revealed. That's why in the base of the Beis HaMikdash, there's no concealment over there. The miracles happen, and so on and so forth. You can see the Eibishter. Well, it's considered, the whole world knows it's so powerful, but especially when the Beis HaMikdash was, no, Yaakov Avinu was before, but he sensed it in the place itself, that yesh, there's a higher revelation in this place. Aval, as he says, Aval, lechein agam, hold on. Lechein agam, shaloi kolaris kavoidoi, we're holding here. Even though Hashem is everywhere, and there's nowhere where he's not, but he's in a state of concealment. They're created. You see, here's what happens. When the Eibishter makes himself ayin, the worlds become yesh. But when the Eibishter flexes his muscles and he makes himself yesh, what happens to the world? They become ayin, meaning they become bottled to him and sense their nothingness to their source. So, liyash v'davar nifra, then the worlds become something. Avol bebeis hamikdash, but in the Beis Hamikdash. Manoira hamokem hazeh. How awesome is this place? V'zeh shara shamayim, this is the gateway to heaven. V'sham meir begilui b'chinas havaya, yesh havaya, the level of the true substance of havaya. B'makam hazeh, in this place, b'chinas gilui shem havaya, the revelation of shem havaya, b'li helam v'hester the shem Elokim, without the concealments of the name of Elokim. Ha'machasa u'master al shem havaya, that obscure and hide shem havaya. Havaya is in a state of yesh. The rest of the creation is called yesh me'ayin, only from a ray of God. But this is and now we'll understand. Of course, the Jewish people knew that God is doing miracles with them, but their question was: is it only the Shekhinah that's going with us, which is called ayin? You hear that question? They asked a very deep question. Is Hashem coming with us only from the level of Malchus? Or is Hashem coming with us, Hayesh Hashem? Is it from the level of Yesh, is the true substance of the divine coming with us? Pirish im hanogis v'gilui hashpa Yisroel. If the gilui and the hashpa to the Yidden b'yetzias Mitzrayim, is it like the rest of creation, that it's only coming from what? From Malchus? V'acha yetzias Mitzrayim, nimshach m'shem avaya atzmai? Is it coming from the Shem Havaya itself, which is called Yesh? Im Ayin, or is it only coming from Malchus? Pidish mebchenes Malchuscha Malchus Kol Olamim Shenikra Ayin, which is called nothingness, V'Shem Va'ara Ba'alma, and it's only a ray. Now, obviously, they should have figured out that since there's miracles and there's Gilui Elokustad, so it's not coming from Ayin, it's coming from Yesh. Fine. Moshe Rabbeinu said, you're going to Eretz Yisroel, I want you to pick up. Is the land different? Is that land a land everywhere where is only the ayin of Hashem, which therefore allows for the coarseness of the world to be a yesh? Or yesh by eitz, is there a tree? Tree is, Havaya is called a tree, as we spoke earlier. Eitz Achayim, the tree of life. Is it felt in Eretz Yisroel, Hashem's presence in a manner of yesh, in a manner of pronounced masculine strength? Is Hashem there, or Hashem is gentle there as well, like He is everywhere else? Or is Hashem strongly pronounced in Liros Hayesh by Eitzim Ayin Pidishim Shoyrish Makar Ashpas Alakusha Eretz Yisrael? If the Shoyrish and the source of the Ashpa of godliness in Eretz Yisrael, Nimshach Mepchinas Eitz, is coming from the tree, Ilana Dachaya, the tree of life. Ki Adam Eitz Hasadeh, the Adam is the tree of the field, which is referring to the Adam Elyon, the supernal man. Shu B'chinas Kamara Adam, is it like the appearance of Adam? Hu Marek Kavod Havaya, which is the kavod of Hashem. Im Ayin, or maybe not. Shashpas Alakusha Be'eretz Yisrael, that the godliness in Eretz Yisrael, Nimshach Rak Mepchinas Malchus, is only from Malchus. Shenikra Ayin Va'ara Ma'orin Sefer, which is only called a ray of the Orin Sefer. Once we understand what eitz means, and we understand that sada is malchus, so now we understand what means eitz hasada. Eitz hasada means he gives malchus, substantial, the tree that goes into malchus. Which is the supernal adam of Atzilus. Which is the ze'er anpid, the 6 emotions of Atzilus. Who eitz shel hasada. This is the eitz of the field. Shaha, and what does it mean? It said Eitza. It's giving advice. How do you draw godly revelation in worlds that are just limited, and you want to make sure and you want to make sure how to first of all draw it down without busting, right? Without busting the keli, and secondly, how to draw it down without chas v'sholem, bad guys utilizing this tremendous, powerful influx of energy for chas v'sholem bad stuff. Shenikra sada, sheyagilui b'biyah kamoy ba'atzilus. In order that there should be a revelation in the lower 3 worlds, the similar to Atzilus. Ve'etzuhu al yedei b'chinas adam elyon, and the supernal adam elyon gives the eitza. V'hainu al yedei Torah mitzvahs. Shenikra, and how do we get access to that eitz, to draw that into Malchus? How do we access that eitz? Torah is called Adam. How many? And Adam is an eitz. And Torah is called eitz chayimu. Shenikra b'chinas Adam. It's called, and because of Torah, how many mitzvahs are there? Ramach pekudin, 248 commandments. Ramache Varim, the Malka, the 248 limbs of the king, which by doing that we make God a yesh in the world. The rest of the world wants to keep God ayin, nothing. And we want to make God very yesh, very tangible and real here. Now there's a pasuk in, I think in Mishlei or in Kehelas, that indicate that Eitzois comes from a very high place. Eitzois meirachoik. It says counsel from a distance. Because here's the thing. What directs the observance of mitzvahs? Based on what? How do you know when is a mitzvah kosher or puzzle? It's all based on the Eibishter's chachma. Chachma is the one that, so that's Eitzois meirachoik, from a very far place, from a very distant place, much higher than the world's, is where there is conducted the whole idea. And chachma is called distant, like it says, I thought and Torah comes from chachma. Torah mitzvahs, gives you the counsel. How should there be a gilui ba'asada in the field? As we said earlier. Just like a physical counsel. Here it says lasais, and the lashon in Tanya is lashus eitzos benafshe, to take counsel within himself. When a teacher has a lot of knowledge, they can't just pour and pour because they might overwhelm the student. And what they need to contract. Not to give what the student can't receive, according to a seichel. And here he brings it. That's the, remember we said earlier that the Mizbeach had a reshes, had a filter on it, kavra, like a sifter, v'napa, shemoitzias hakemach. It gives out the flour, the koilet, it takes out the coarse flour. The koileta said it takes in as asoiles, the fine flour. How to give, and what not to give. Okay. Now the Medrash Rabbah on this idea of Avram Avinu planting this eitz says, when the Eibishter gave the real estate to Avram Avinu, God gave Avram a piece of real estate, gave him Eretz Yisroel, gave him the world. And what did Avram do? He improved the real estate. Hashem gave it him as it is. Hashem said to Avram, go out. Take a walk, you go. I'm giving it to you. Avram went. Basically, that's the idea. God doesn't want to give just a gift and just be recipients. Hashem gives you something, He wants you to improve it better than He gave it to you. And how does Avram make it better? Vayita Eishel. Avram goes and he starts planting an Eishel. Sheva. And Yitzchak also made it better. Yitzchak Yitzchak planted in that land, and he found 100 times more than they estimated. That's what it says. So, and then it goes on to explain others. Piddish eitz. Piddish. I think this is definitely a mistake. Piddish oretz. It's supposed to be oretz kamoisha hu pchenas malchus. The oretz as it is, that's malchus, and we have to improve it. Now, oretz means earth, but it doesn't only mean down here. It means wherever malchus is shining. Where does malchus shine? In Gan Eden. In a Gan Eden, Olam Haba, Gan Eden, Olam Haba, Nikra Eretz. It's all called Eretz. Kamayim Rezal. Kol Yisroel Yeshnam Chelek LaOlam Haba. Shenema va'amech kulam tzadikim LaOlam Yirshu Eretz. Fine. In a Gan Eden, in Gan Eden, from the very beginning you see that Hashem wants it improved. It says V'yinecheyo began Eden LaAvda LaShamra. He puts Adam and Rishon there to make it better. In Yana Avodah Shebegan Eden. What's the Avodah? To plant trees. That's beyond the ordinary state of Gan Eden. Ki Gan Eden mitzad atzmoi, because Gan Eden on its own, urak b'china ziv va'oris, is only a ray. As it says, neshamis yoshvin v'nehen meziv hashchina. It's only a ray. Ayin, same idea we said earlier. Ayin, nothingness. His galu ziv hashchina. That itself is unbelievable, but still, it's only a ray. But the avodah lahamshich toisvis v'ribuy oyer ma'orein soif baruch, to draw down a tremendous increase of light. Bibchenas Gan Eden, into Gan Eden. It says a pasuk in Gan Eden, he doesn't bring it here, but other places it brings a Chassidus. Yizbu'u atzei Hashem, that the trees themselves become satiated with much even greater light. For who al yedei Torah mitzvahs, and that's the Torah mitzvahs, la'avda ramach mitzvahs asay, u'l'sham rezusha salois asay. To work it is through the performance of the positive commandments, and to guard it is through the guarding against, and observing the prohibitive commandments. And it's the same idea of Avraham. He made the land better. Eishel, he planted the Eishel. Ki eretz ubchenas malchus makar de biyah, the source of biyah, briyatzir. Malchuscha malchus kol olam. Your kingship is the kingship of all worlds. Shudak ziva ara ba'alma, which is only a ray. Aval Avraham Avinu alav hashalom, but Avraham Avinu his shbiach es aretz improved it. Pireshehim shich gilui ein soif ba'atzilus. The godly revelation, first of all, into Atzilus, or the Gili or Soif that's in Atzilus, Bibchenas Malchus, into Malchus, Mekar de Biyah, the root of Bria, Tzir and Asiya, Shenikra Eretz, that's called Eretz. V'al Yedei Vayita Eishel beBe'er Sheva. It's through this Eishel that he planted a Be'er Sheva. Shebchenas Eishel u'Bchenas ki Adam Eitz Hasada. Eishel, that's the Adam Eitz Hasada that we discussed earlier. Shehimshich mebchenas Kodesh Elyon da Atzilus. He drew from the supernal holiness. Holiness means removed, separated. Bibchenas Malchus shenikra Be'er Sheva, and he drew it into Malchus, which is called Be'er Sheva. Hine beZoyar Parshas Vayikra. So now the Zoyar says, Isa, that Avram didn't do this one time in his life, but he did this daily. The B'chol Yoim Avram Noiteya Eishel beBe'er Sheva. The Zoyar says that every day Avram Avinu does that, even today. Every day Avram plants the Eishel beBe'er Sheva. So what does that mean? It must be that we have this every day to plant the Eishel. In where? Into the 7. So watch this amazing thing. Chazal learn out from the pasuk, it says 7 every day I praise you. There are 7 blessings of the Shema. Where do we have 7 blessings? B'shachar, in the morning, in the morning when we daven Shacharis, we make 2 blessings by Shema, which is, the first one is Yotzer Or, we start. And we finish with Yotzer HaMa'oros. The second bracha is Ahavas Olam. That's the second bracha. Then we say the Shema. And then we make 1 bracha afterwards, which is V'yatzev Enochain, 1 bracha. So it's 3 blessings. Three blessings. Yeah. No, and 2 blessings. What does he say? B'shacham avarach shtayim lefanel v'shtayim lecharel. No. This is the word. There is altogether 7 blessings between Ma'ariv and Shacharis, the 7 blessings. Why? Because by night there are 4 blessings, 2 before, 2 after. And b'Shacharis, there's 3 blessings. 2 before and 1 after, so together is 7. But in Yerushalmi it says, Shebeshachris Gufa, then in Shachris itself, Yesheva. V'chein ba'arvis Yesheva. How do we have? V'ayne b'Shachris Gimel Parshiyos the Kriya Shema. We have 3 Parshiyos of Shema. Shema v'Hafta is 1. V'hayim Shemoya v'Yoymer. V'Hagimel brachas, and the 3 brachas, the Kriya Shema Shachris. V'Shmoyne Esrei, and Shmoyne Esrei is considered the 7th. And Sheva b'Yoyim, these are the 7 that we do by day. U'Balayla, by night, we don't, even though we say the 3rd parsha Vayomer, but it's not really that necessary because we're supposed to wear tzitzis at night. She'ein's ma mitzvah tzitzis, we don't have a mitzvah of tzitzis. Ve'ein parsha tzitzis b'cheshbon, so we don't count that parsha in the calculation. So that's why at the night they added 1 more bracha, because you only have 2 parshas of tzitzis. 2 parshas of Shema. Plus the 4 blessings is 6. Plus Shemona Esrei, 7. Krishma the base parsha, Krishma Shemona Esrei, and Zion. These are the 7. Ukemoy kenu inya Vayita Eishel. That's the idea. So Avram Avinu opened up the channel for these brachas, beBe'er Sheva. Hu inyan kriya Shema u'berchosel. So every day, it's not stam a story then. We can also bring down whatever we spoke about earlier, the Eishel into Be'er Sheva. Va'inyan, what's the idea? So you have to say that just like Avram Avinu approved the land through his Eishel, so we have to say that our Kriya Shemana Esrei also improves the land. Improving the land means basically adding godly revelation to the world. But where do we find that? Right before Parshas Kriya Shema, the pasuk says like this: Ki koydem Parsha Shema Yisroel Nemar. It's amazing. It says V'zois HaMitzvah Asher Tziva Hashem La'asais Ba'aretz. And then it goes on to tell you Shema Yisroel. Shema Yisroel. V'yiduya HaKushya. It's not the question. Halei Kriya Shema Chayv Sakuf. Kriya Shema is an obligation on the person. It's not obligation. It's not a farm mitzvah related to the production of the farm, of the fields. V'noyeg bein ba'aretz, bein b'chutz li'aretz. Shema, you don't only say in Eretz Yisrael, wherever you are throughout. Umau lasis ba'aretz dafka. Dafka over here it says you should do it ba'aretz. And the answer is it doesn't mean the physical earth. It means the whole point of Shema is to bring the 7 brachas down, be'er Sheva, down here. Ach inyan. The Palm Ksiv, in one place it says, b'chol kareinu elov. That we're supposed to call out only to God Himself. Elov dafka v'loy l'midois. And not to His midos. Upam amar azal had bek b'midois. And other places it says, you should cleave to Hashem's midos. Ma'ur achom, if He is compassionate. Ubesefri, and the Sefri takes it even a step further. But they ma Yisroel tzayakin ve'eino nanen. How come Yidden sometimes daven and are not answered? They she'ein yoidim l'chaven b'shem. They don't know the right mystical kavanis. They don't know the Kabbalistic kavanis when they're davening, and they're not having in mind the right pronunciation of God's names. Because we know, according to Kabbalah, there is different, even though it's the same Yud Kei Vav Kei, but it's different nekudais. Each bracha is different nekudais. Those who have a Kabbalistic siddur, you can see that. Those siddurim that have kavanis, in each bracha, the Yud Kei Vav Kei has a different nekuda, sometimes with a segol or a kometz or a pasach and so on and so on. So the Sefri says, because Jews don't know this, and the Jewish people when they daven, and therefore they're not having an effect. So the question is, but doesn't it say, what does it mean, these various different nekudas? Nekudas means, when Hashem manifests in all the different spherois, it's indicated in different nekudas in the Yud Kei Vav Kei. Kometz is in Chachma or in whatever, and this one is in Pasach is in this sphere, Each one has its. But doesn't it say beferish Mika Shem Elokeinu that He's close to us? B'chol kareinu elov. We call to Him elov to Him beloy lamidayisav and not to His midayis. So l'chora, you're much better off. Go to God Himself. Don't start becoming chachem over here and start pouring it into various. Yeah. L'cham Hashem v'lo yikri tzarich li is dafka elov has to be to Him. The answer is our hafresh ben krishma and shemana esrei. The difference between Shema and Shemana Esrei. Shebekriya Shema tzarich liyas hakavana dafka elav v'loy lamidoisav. Limsar nafshoy be'echad. You're going beyond all definitions, beyond the entire spherotic range, higher to God Himself. V'ubchenes l'shta'ava begufa d'malka. That's called being absorbed in the body of a king. When a Yid has that Mesiras Nefesh, he causes the Oirein Soif to be mislabish. That's the only thing that causes the gravitational pull, that the Oirein Soif that's beyond the spheroids should settle into the spheroids, like a neshama going into a body. That's what causes the Eibishter to be mislabish, to enclose himself, kamara Adam, shu tes spheroids ta'atzilus. What's Adam? Adam is Ramach. Adam is Ramach. Ramach is 248. How do you get 248 from the spheroids? Because you have 9 spheroids. 9 times 9 is 81. Because each one is 9. And then you have in each one beginning, middle, and end. So it's times 3, gives you 243. And then you have Hei Chasadim, that's what, which are Hamagadlim, whatever that is, and that brings you to 248. Tes Sfiros, Tatzilis, Tes Pamentes, and Peyale, Veroish, Teich, Vesoif, Huramag, Reish Mem Gimel, Vehei Chasadim, Amagdilim, Em Reish Mem Ches. Fine. So when you're actually saying the Shema, you're causing the Eibush to enclose himself through the mysterious. See, here's the thing: you can't. The Shema can't be to the Spherois. The Shema is to him himself. But through that Mesiras Nefesh, we attract him to come down and to be Mislabish. And that's why how many words are there in the Shema? Reish Mem Ches. 248 words in the Kriya Shema. The truth is it's only 245. Gematria Rama. Because the etzem of Shema is what? Higher. Rama. It's reaching the Ein Sof. But we say 3 times, we say over Hashem Elokeichem Emes, the Chazan repeats it, it's 248. So, V'zeh inyan la sois ba'aretz. Shema, v'achakach Shema Yisroel. Why? Sha'idei kriya Shema mamshichem toisvis oiros b'b'chenes malchus shenikra aretz. So then we draw it down into the Spherois and eventually into malchus. That's called aretz. Ubezeh yuven azoyer anal shal b'chol yoim asi Avram l'ntoya Eishel be'er Sheva. Every day Avram comes to plant. Ki kamoisha Avram Avinu olav hashalom amed v'shbiach oisei aretz. Just like Avram Avinu improved the earth. Al yedei netiyas Eishel, through planting this Eishel. Shein yana yetz inyan is la'amshach gilu yates spheres ta'atzilus, to draw down the revelation of the 9 spheres of Atzilus, bibchenas malchus, into malchus shenikra be'er Sheva. Kamoy ken yesh b'chinezu b'kol yoim. We have it every day. Al yedei mitzvahs kriya Shema b'chosel, through the mitzvah of reading the Shema and its blessings. Shehen Sheva, which are 7. Nimshach gilu yalukus b'bchenas malchus. Shazau lasois ba'aretz. We too are doing it in the earth, just like be'er Sheva, in the earth, in the sada, in the field. That's all the Shema in which we're intending God himself. Then we come to Shemona Esrei. We're in the 12 middle brachos, bakashas gili alakus ba'olam, when we're actually asking the Eibishter to reveal himself and to heal this person, or to bring this person who's having a hard time at Parnasa a break, and suddenly infuse in him tremendous bracha. So what are we looking for? Now we're looking further down. It's not just in Malchus. We want to bring it down to materialize completely in our physical, fleshy eyes, that we should see the miracles happening. We should see God present in our life in a real way. Oh, that's already the next step after the Shema. Now you're bringing it down, down, down into the world, and therefore over here already, you're supposed to have already mystical kavanah in each place, which keli you're bringing it into. Now already, because you've already directed your A-love by the Shema. You've already gotten him himself. Now you want him to spread into all the vessels and all the channels. That helps if you know the mystical meaning of each bracha and help channel it down into that particular channel. And the Chaynin Adas, you want Hashem to give Chachma. Havaya beniket Pasach, because Chachma is Pasach, Patach. L'chol Shem u kavan acheres, and every name is a different kavan. Ach b'koydim tzarich li is b'chenes kriya Shema. First, you need to have the general bittul, b'chenes bittul b'mohus atzmusa yizbarach, in the very, very to the very, very truth of God Himself, Elam. V'winyan netiyas Eishel be'beir Sheva, kriya Shema. That's the planting of the Eishel. Ubirchaisel, kriya Shema and its blessings. And what does it say right after? And Avram Avinu did this both. He said Shema, and what does it say right after Vayita Eishel be'ber Sheva? Vayikra Sham b'shem Hashem. You're going to look. Avram called out in the name of God, emphasizing the names. Keil Olam, the God of the world, because he's mamshachit as a power in the world. There already has mystical intentions in the various different brachas that he's doing to channel the light down all the way down here. In the name down here, chulu in the world, to bring it down, down, down in the world. So that's what Avram. So what did Avram do every day? He said Shema and Shemona Esrei, and we couldn't do the same thing. We do the Shema and the Shemona Esrei. We open up these channels to flow all the way down. Lasis ba'aretz, to fill the world with godly revelation, all the way down, 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 down here. Ba'olam hazeh agashmi, until the world will be filled with so much light, it will explode with light, and we will have and we will live happily ever after. Okay, everyone.